Where's the cameras?
Cameras? That one's pointing at you, and this one's pointing at me.
Okay.
And we're live.
We're live.
Where's Petey?
He's in the car.
Why didn't you bring him?
Oh, he's murder in a vehicle.
Oh, is he?
Oh, terrible.
Really?
I mean, short trips, he's fine, but
Yeah.
Anything over 15, 20 minutes.
He didn't go to sleep?
Nope.
No way. That's weird.
Took him to New Hampshire at Thanksgiving, loaded him up with Claritin. Still didn't help.
You drugged your dog?
No, yeah.
Oh. That's cruelty.
Well, it's cruel to sit in the car with him for 2 hours.
Chris Walsh, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Walsh, the ladies' pet and the men's regret.
The ladies.
Wash him and you get him dirty. D is detailed for retail.
Never heard that one. Okay.
Which one?
Either.
That's old stuff, man.
Good morning.
Good morning, dude.
Good morning, Facebook Nation.
Good morning to the world. Welcome to the Recruiter Podcast. We come to you here almost every single week. This is Adam. What episode are we on?
We are on 38.
38.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't
Kudos.
know, that voice was the voice of millionaire producer Adam here at All Systems Go AV. He is on the other side of the glass. That's what DJs say. I like saying that.
Yep.
But he literally is on the other side of the glass because there is glass between us and the producers.
Mr. Producer.
That's right.
As Mark Levin would refer to his.
That's right. Here at All Systems Go AV. WJRN, the Tri-City area. Number one with a bullet. Hey, so, hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Oh, before we get started,
Shoot.
I brought you a present.
No way.
I did.
I have a gift.
Render unto Caesar. Wow.
Should I open it now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I going to
please.
cry?
I think everybody that comes on this podcast should bring you something.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Oh, no way. Oh, dude. Oh, this is freaking gorgeous. Look at this stuff. There's Petey.
The one and only world-famous officially certified 2020 PD Rocks Rescue Works wall calendar.
Wow, man, that is so nice. That's awesome. Petey is, no shit, the most photogenic dog. Really, one of the most photogenic animals I've ever seen in my life. He does not take a bad picture. You're a really good photographer.
You have no idea what it takes to get him to settle down.
Oh, baloney.
The phone comes out of my back pocket, and it's like, dude, get that shit away from me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dixie will not let me take a picture of her. I have to catch her totally off
Make
guard.
him sit, stay.
Oh,
So
look.
you
This
have
is
your
awesome,
quotes.
dude.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to put it somewhere where she can't see it, and we don't want to make her jealous.
Yeah, I'm suspicious of people who don't like dogs, but I trust a dog when it doesn't like a person. Bill Murray. That's a Chris Walsh. That's a Chris Walsh find for sure. These are great. Oh my. That's so cool, man. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
What do dogs do on their day off? They can't lie around. That's their job. George Carlin. This is beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That's
Just lay down the gauntlet for every guest
That's right.
from now until eternity.
That's beautiful.
Render unto Caesar. Bring Mark, bring Greg a gift.
Hey, share this out, everybody.
Please.
Share out the Recruiter Podcast. We are available on Facebook on the AutoMax recruiting page. The AutoMax recruiting page on Facebook. Please share it out to your timeline and to groups. That would be really awesome and appreciated by all of us. Also, we are on YouTube at the AutoMax Recruiting YouTube channel. It's a very cool channel. There's all kinds of recruiting information and so on and so forth there. We are also available on your favorite podcast audio platform, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, the whole group. We're getting a bunch of downloads there, which is very neat. The show is picking up momentum.
Starting to grow.
Starting to grow. Starting to grow. We're, what did Adam say, 38? Number 38?
Yeah.
And it's like those 38, so let's round it up to 40 times 3. It's like 120 hours. That's like literally 120 shows in the real podcast world.
Give you a lot of credit. And I want to thank you for having me on again. I was here
I know. Well,
at
we
the end
ran
of
out.
April.
We ran out of guests, so that's
I
the
know,
only reason you're
that's what I
back.
figured. Me and Troy Spring were your maiden voyage.
Really were. I have no idea why I picked you.
I don't either.
But I'm glad we did.
I could be home playing Candy Crush right now. Diane gets the credit card every month. Will you stop? 99 cents adds up.
Grown-ups don't play.
$42.99 a
Grown-ups
time
don't
last
play
month.
that, man. What are you doing?
It's my heroin. I don't know.
Let's see here. All right, let's share that. Right post. Craig Lockhart's timeline. So share this out. Share it to groups because it's so awesome. Today's going to be live.
Irreverent.
It could be.
We'll talk about some car guy stuff, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Well, normally I start out by asking guests, I've been doing this for, I don't know, quite a while here, asking guests if they own their own car dealership, what would it look like, what would it feel like, and so forth. However, with you, because you're so old,
Curveball.
because you're so old and stuff, it would just be old car dog stuff. It would be useless information. It would really be, it would be nothing progressive. You'd want to talk about patriotism, and hiring veterans and treating veterans properly coming into a dealership. And I don't know if any of that is useful at all to the public. So really what I want to talk about is did you see the Epstein autopsy pictures?
I did. Thank you.
You
so
did
much
see
for
them.
sending those to me. I
did
was
send them to
sitting
you.
down to a hearty diabetic breakfast of cinnamon oatmeal and cranberries when I opened that up.
Delicious.
Yeah, couldn't make it any more appetizing than
Right.
looking at those.
So so his neck was cut. Mm-hmm. Okay. So how do you cut your neck?
With sheets.
Wasn't it
That's one hell of a thread count.
jumpsuits? Right? Yeah,
yeah.
good thread count. It was wasn't it? He had 9 orange jumpsuits in his cell,
Yeah.
and no blood. There was no blood on the thing, whatever he hung himself with, quote unquote. No blood on that. Yet his neck was bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible?
It's not.
Okay, it's not
And
possible.
I'm amazed it's still in the news cycle.
Me
Because,
too.
You know, we are
That'll tell you something.
We are treated like second graders. We get the fodder that the brain trust, the star chamber, thinks that we are worthy of ingesting and digesting, and then we move on. Personally, I hope it stays in the news cycle because this is the tip of a very, very large iceberg.
Right.
You know, people say it's a conspiracy theory. You whack jobs, everything you
Right.
don't agree with. You know, there's
That's the word, conspiracy. So what whoever it is, government or whatever, when they want to discount something, they just add the word conspiracy to it. You know, right from Kennedy to now, it's like, oh, well, that's a conspiracy, so it's not to be. So why would he kill himself? He's a sick pedophile, owned an island, tons of money, knows a lot of famous rich people, and into young girls, has an assistant that's purveying young women, girls, whatever, for him and or his buddies.
his minor league scout.
Right. Yeah. So what? Oh, you know what? A little disclaimer. Folks, these are jokes. This is going to be opinions and jokes. This is also a podcast, so we're probably going to say stuff that is probably wrong. that because we're just a couple chimps talking about stuff. So
That's racist.
don't let any of this stuff offend you. If it offends you, that's on you, not us. I don't
In the
care.
immortal words of Sergeant Hulka in Stripes, lighten up, Francis.
There we go.
As Dave Chappelle says,
Yeah.
if you piss off everybody, you can't be politically incorrect, because if everyone is a racist, then no one is a racist.
Did you happen to catch? If not, there's a 9-minute clip on YouTube. He won the Mark Twain Award yesterday in the last few days, and it's up on YouTube. It's really a great 9 minutes. Great 9 minutes. He's awesome.
I think the rubber band's snapping
He
back.
started doing comedy at 14. His mother took him to comedy clubs at 14 years old. Like,
Well, most of the old guys, the old comics, got their start in vaudeville when they were 3, 4, 5 years
Yeah.
old, following their parents around.
that's true.
The Catskills and the Poconos.
Right. So which is more like, so Epstein, so he's a known pedophile, right? I mean, there's no debating that, right?
Of course.
Lots of money, buys a freaking island.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a few dollars. All the stuff. Why would he kill himself? There's no reason. He's got all the money in the world. So if he was brought up on charges, does he do some time? Yeah, maybe.
There's a real good chance that he could have negotiated that,
Right.
bargained it down to almost nothing,
No question about it.
which
in my
would
mind.
have been egregious.
Right.
But you don't get into that rarefied air without having judges in your pocket, without having videos
Right.
of judges
Right.
in baby diapers with little Girl Scouts
Right.
running around. So, yeah, I think that it would have been a tremendous miscarriage of justice if he let it play out and used his contacts. And by no means am I justifying this, but there was no reason for the guy to kill himself.
There's none.
He may have done 3 years out in 18 months on good behavior, and
That's
he's down
right.
in St. Croix.
So the other side is he got killed.
There's a lot of powerful people that he pissed off,
Right.
and that were quaking in their boots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because if he he cuts himself a deal, they're screwed. But it's so out in the open. It's so amazing to me. It's so amazing. Like you said, it's still in the news cycle, which got to tell you something. When they can't bury that, there's something there.
Well, it's like I said, the rubber band is snapping back in a lot of ways. The townspeople are starting to gather up their rakes and pitchforks and torches. We've had it.
Yeah.
We've had it on so many levels of being played,
yeah.
and I think that's good. I think it's
think
an
so.
offshoot of nationalism, of national pride, of saying, hey, flyover country is pretty friggin' important
Yeah.
to the future of this entire country.
Yeah.
So stop jerking us around.
Right. So also, I don't know if you've noticed, or did I hear this on a podcast or read it? There's no pictures, and this could be totally wrong, but I've not seen, and supposedly there's no pictures of him getting off a plane, going to the island. There's no pictures of him. There's pictures of everybody else. There's pictures of Clinton, whatever. Clinton, how many times? Clinton,
Prince Andrew.
26 times or 28.
Well, he was there on behalf of the Clinton Foundation. He was
Right.
just checking on the conditions to make
course.
sure that these poor little boys and girls were being treated fairly
Absolutely.
and humanely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Probably because he was behind the camera when all this was going on. He wasn't
Who,
a
Epstein
stupid,
was?
Yeah, he wasn't a stupid man by any stretch of the imagination.
That's a good point. It could have been. He had his, what's that thing called for snoring? What's that thing called?
Sleep apnea?
Yeah. So he had his
CPAP.
sleep apnea machine in there.
Sleep apnea.
So the guy, so he's on suicide watch. They put a sleep. He's allowed to have his. I mean, those things have cords, right? It's like, come on. There's no way. I guess there's a way. It's almost unbelievable. No, it's not almost unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that he killed himself.
One of the highest profile detainees in the criminal justice system since Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and they did
Right.
not have multiple cameras and multiple guards watching this guy 24
Right,
hours a day.
exactly.
They took him off of suicide watch.
Right.
Nobody can even find the documents or who signed off on
Right.
the suicide watch release. No, this stinks like week-old underwear.
How about the roommate they gave him? The guy's a monster.
Oh, yeah.
Ex-cop, convicted murderer, right? And drug dealer. And like jacked. A monster. And that's who they give him as a roommate. It's like, wow, man. It's just all so
It's just-
crazy. It's all so crazy.
And it's going to end at very low levels.
You think?
Yeah, the responsibility is going to be doled out to the poor, hourly and salaried saps.
Get a little closer if you would.
And
Here, move this.
think about it. If you're worth billions and your life is threatened, your livelihood, your reputation is threatened.
Yeah.
You're going to contact one of these guys and say, "Listen, take the fall, and the next 2 generations of your
Right.
family will never have
Taken
to
care
worry
of.
about working."
Right.
And that's, it might be cynical, but hey,
It's probably what they did
prove
with
me
Jack,
wrong.
Probably what they did with Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby he must have owed the wrong people, a crap load of money or something. Say, hey, look,
Of course.
go do this for us, and we'll take care of you.
Yeah. The extended family went into witness protection. They're probably living in Scottsdale.
What happened? Ruby went to jail. Did he? He died in jail.
He died in jail.
Yeah. But he legitimately.
And those
was
were
like-
suspicious circumstances as well.
Oh, I thought, wasn't it cancer or something?
It was, but it was like that.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, this is what do they say? Politics and sausage, 2 things that the general public should never see being made.
Politics and sausage. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I don't know what what category this falls into, because it's it's intestinal material as well as public policy. But yeah, we're the little guys. We're never going to know the truth. I hope we do. But
Yeah. I don't know
I
that
think
we
that
got
social media and the accessibility we have to the news cycle. Remember when we were kids, there was 3, 8, and 30 in Harvard. There was NBC, ABC, CBS.
right.
You trusted Walter Cronkite. You literally have 80 or 90 sources that you
Right.
can mine for information.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And I really believe social media is turning us into a soulless pack of cynics
Yeah. When
as we rely on social media to broadcast this.
right. Yeah. We're so full of baloney. So where do you get your news?
I get my news on Breitbart. I do not watch Fox anymore. American Thinker, American Greatness, American Spectator, Mark Levin,
Right.
Ben Shapiro.
Have you been following Shapiro's tweets over the last couple of days? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Bright guy. I'd
Oh,
want him
he's
in
so
at my
smart.
back in a debate.
He's so smart.
And he is not in the tank for conservatism. He's not
No.
in the tank, as is
No.
Levin. Levin is a big Trump fan, but
Picture-
he will say, I'm more of a constitutionalist.
Right. People totally alt-right him. Shapiro, that is. They totally alt-right him. He's not.
He's not.
He's
Not
not
at
at all. He's proud. He's
He's
centrist at best.
closer to a Dershowitz or a Jonathan Turley, who now the left is excoriating because here's 2 Democrats, 2 constitutional scholars, 2
Right.
professors, Harvard professors,
Right.
that said, I'm not going to allow my partisan bias to stand in my way of speaking truth to power.
Right.
And as Dershowitz has said many times, I am completely out of the social circles in Martha's Vineyard, New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C. I've been relegated to the ash heap. Nobody wants to talk to me on the left. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Right. I
Well-
don't know if you saw the a little meme that I posted yesterday. It's a quote from Aldous Huxley. Facts do not cease to be true simply because they are ignored.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
You can do this, this, and this.
Right.
And the only person you're fooling is yourself.
So when we hit, I had a lot to do with it. When when our president or whoever made that happen and hit Soleimani, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. So I said, you know what? This is probably something I want to look at for a couple hours, and it's the first time in a long time, probably since the election, since the 2016, where I spent 2 or 3 hours on Twitter
Yep.
and looked at it. Mm-hmm. The outrage, it's so unbelievable. So unbelievable. I mean, bang, World War III. It's like, seriously? Really? World War III? you people know what a world war is, right? It's more than a big-ass guy against a 12-year-old. It's like other people and countries involved and people taking sides and then, collaborating and then blowing each other up. That's a world war. This is... it is what it was. It was like, okay, this guy's an asshole. He's a complete terrorist. He's a horrible human being. Horrible person. Horrible person. Not to be confused with Iranian people.
No.
Right? He's a horrible leader, which is a stretch, of a regime that's terrorist in nature that just wants to murder people. And I don't think they really care. I mean, if they cared, they wouldn't be killing people in Iraq. They don't give a shit. So it's like you got this guy and all the outrage, and it's like, seriously? And I mean, the liberals are losing their minds. It's almost as bad. It might be worse than when Trump was elected. This in two or 3 days anyway. It's so it's insane what these people. If you guys really go to Twitter, go to Ben Shapiro's, because if you go to Trump and you look at all the comments, it's all just everybody's saying he's on Adderall and drugs and this and that and all that, just the stupid hate. And if he's on Adderall, I really don't care. The guy. They were. Did you watch his?
A lesser man would have been found hanging from his red tie in the closet of the Lincoln bedroom by now.
This guy, you saw his whatever it was, 10, 12 minutes yesterday, right?
Address to the Senate.
Right, and so his
He's
speech
exhausted. Probably hasn't slept in 96 hours.
Exactly. It's like these people are not machines. These are human beings.
Yeah.
All of them on both sides. Everybody. These are not machines. These are human beings with just unimaginable decisions sitting in front of them every second of the day. Let the guy go have a Big Mac. I don't really care.
There's been this belief, and it predates Obama. It goes back to pre-2005 George Bush, that there's only two ways to deal with Iran: either total appeasement or all-out war.
Yeah.
And I think that our commander-in-chief is in the process of proving that that is not true.
Right.
That deterrence, foreign policy is all about deterrence, and it should not be political. And he's in the process right now of staring them down and calling their bluff, and this is what we elected this man to do, the man that completely changed the face of the west side of Manhattan on the East River, the man that has negotiated with some of the biggest scumbags and criminal syndicate members to become a successful real estate developer.
Yeah.
Can he be repellent? Can he be bellicose? Of course.
Yeah.
Am I going to sit here and tell you I'm a Cinca fan? I'm in the tank for
Bellicose
him?
is a very big word, dude.
Yeah. It kind of means loudmouth asshole.
Yeah.
Of all the loudmouth assholes I know, I love my president the most.
He's an interesting guy, man.
He's staring them down. He's facing them down. He has a gut feeling to know his opponent's limitations. And this is pretty high stakes here.
Very.
And this is maybe he's not going to be as successful as we hope he will be, but at least he's trying. At least he's trying that third rail, that deterrence,
Right.
rather than total appeasement,
Right.
which is what was executed by the previous administration,
Right.
or all-out war,
Right.
which was executed by the previous
Right.
administration, neither
Right.
one of which I condone.
I tell you what, man, the dude has done. It's like when everyone who runs for president they all have platforms. Let's take Bernie. God bless him. He's I really like him. I think he would be fun to hang with. He's so silly. I think he'd just be fun to hang with. Very smart guy.
I'd love to go fishing with him.
Right?
As long as it wasn't the Volga River in Russia, where he went on his honeymoon.
He's so he said, he's going to, if he were to become president, all student loans, bank, forgiven. Free medical for all of us, bang. Free college for all of us, bang. So, and of course, this will cost $80 bazillion, and there's no way to pay for it. Trump said this, and this, and he's done or doing everything he said he was going to do. It's unprecedented, right? Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a president ever that did or attempted to do everything he promised during their campaign running for president? I don't recall that there was.
And you will get such a backlash if you assert that on social media.
Yeah.
Oh, you talked about a wall. He hasn't built a wall. Well, He's had zero cooperation from either side of the aisle.
But he is building a wall.
He's trying.
The wall's being built.
65 miles. It's not a lot, but it's...
Right. Yeah, and the wall's not going to do shit, really. I mean, when it really comes down to it, it's just kind of a bump in the road.
Again, I get a kick out of the absolutism on both sides.
Right. Yeah.
And the guy is trying. How do you relieve debt? You relax regulations that will bring revenue into the centralized federal government.
Right.
You can't have it both ways. You can't regulate private business. You cannot castigate and excoriate and vilify capitalism and then also tell your populace that we're going to give you all this free shit.
Right.
It just doesn't.
It's a math equation.
Right, and it's a simple math equation. It's not the new math. It's not Common Core.
Right.
It just don't work any other way. Right. So I was in a big argument with my sister-in-law over Christmas, who is dyed-in-the-wool liberal. God bless her. I love her. And very intelligent, but she is all about the talking points. Well, he's trying to kill the EPA. Well, no, he's not.
Right.
He got us out of the Paris Climate Agreement.
Right.
Yes, he did, but do you understand that most of the oil, gas producing corporations in America are being held to higher standards than what was put forth for the world in the Paris Accords?
Right.
So when you say he is gutting the EPA, what he has done is he has eliminated 5,500 largely administrative fat jobs that, just layers and layers and layers of bullshit bureaucratic oversight that was never needed. The man has had the guts to say, I'm going to take the EPA and I'm going to move it out of Washington. I'm going to move it to Oklahoma City. Yeah. There's no reason for these people to be on K Street.
Right.
None.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But one of the things that Cindy said to me, and again, I love her. She's my sister-in-law, takes care of my brother.
Shout out to Cindy.
I would rather live in a world where I had to pay more money than a world that was being destroyed around me. I said, wow, which one of the talking heads on CNN or MSNBC gave you that line to regurgitate?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The new media it's just an absolute farce anymore.
There's no reporters. There's no reporting.
Opinion.
There's no journalism.
None. It's guys talking like us are right now on both sides of it. It's just all bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no reporting. There's very little reporting. Probably the best reporters are some of these no-name Twitter people that are actually there or where or and they actually see something and report it via Twitter. Twitter's so weird. It is so weird. It's such a rabbit hole.
Warriors. It's brought out the worst of us.
Yeah. Both sides, man.
The late great Andrew Breitbart's famous quote was, "Social media is like writing a long, slow suicide note," and it's truly brought out the worst in us. But to get back to Soleimani, I asked you if I could give a shout out to my buddy.
Let's go to Soleimani.
Let's
do that.
The reason I'm wearing this hat.
What is that hat?
This hat is the. I'm glad you asked, Greg. This hat is the official hat of the Folds of Honor Foundation.
Folds of Honor.
Folds of Honor is a charity based out of Edmond, Oklahoma. It was started in 2008 by Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Fighter Pilot Dan Rooney and my very dear friend, Army Major Edward Polito. And in 2004 in Bakuba, Iraq, Major Ed, the vehicle that he was driving in, was hit by a roadside bomb. And many people have heard the three initials in the last week for the very first time ever, EFP. And EFP stands for exploding shaped projectile or exploding shaped penetrator.
Okay.
And Qasem Soleimani was largely, if not completely, responsible for the development and the importation into Iraq of these EFPs. What an EFP is it's a charge
Right.
that sits behind a copper plate
Okay.
of various circumference and thickness.
Okay.
When that explosion, when that charge is detonated, it hits the center of this plate and it turns the copper into an 1,800-degree ball of molten liquid copper.
Jeez.
It's fired out at its target at anywhere between 900 and 2,000 feet per second based on the size of the charge.
Wow.
And it literally goes through anything and everything armor-wise that
Right.
we have ever attempted to invent in this world.
Right.
It is in direct contravention to any Geneva Convention or UN sanctions on
That stuff's out
landmines.
the window, man.
It is just a diabolical weapon of war.
Right.
And Ed Polito lost his left leg to an EFP in 2004.
Right. He was serving at the time. He was deployed there, or what?
He was in Bakuba. Funny story. Ed's a great guy. His NCO that was running between FOBs, forward operating bases, was up all night. He did like a 72-hour shift. And he had to bring some communication out to an FOB outside the wire. And Ed said, you know what, you're exhausted. I'll go. And there was no MRAP, there was no armored vehicle, there was no Humvee available. He took a white Ford Explorer because they had no activity, no roadside bomb, no IED activity on this road
Right.
where he was going to take this pouch.
Right.
And bang, that's when he got it. So for someone, and we lost, by the most conservative counts, we lost over 600 men and women, 2 EFPs, killed,
Directly related to
directly
Soleimani.
related to Soleimani, who is, again, largely responsible for the development and the importation into Iraq of
Right.
the explosive-shaped
Right.
penetrators.
Right.
This is a horrific weapon made by a horrific man. So on the 1-week anniversary of his being vaporized, I thought I would give a shout out to the
There we
guys that. And what Folds of Honor does is they provide educational opportunities to the dependents of wounded and fallen warfighters. In the last 10 years, they have raised close to $250 million, that's billion with a B. They've put literally thousands of kids through school,
No kidding.
tuition free.
Never heard of this.
They've got a very, very high rating on CharityWatch.org. And their 2 major sponsor donors right now are the PGA of America and NASCAR.
No kidding.
And if you go on foldsofhonor.org,
Foldsofhonor.org.
you can learn a little more about the magnificent work they're doing, make a modest donation, and get a
Right.
cool hat that also says on the side, freedom is never free.
Yeah. So lighten up your fat pockets there, listeners and viewers. Go to one more time. On the site.
Foldsofhonor.org.
Foldsofhonor.org. Good. Thanks. That's awesome. That's very cool. So we're standing outside before the podcast and talking, and it's like, it's still, this is all mind blowing to me. It's just like, so we used a drone, bang, you're dead. I mean, it really is, death even to bad guys is, violence is violence. Definitely not for violence. However, I mean, it's like a video game, man.
Sure it is.
There's a lot of people can do anything. You want somebody gone, they're gone.
Well,
In
again, not
precise-
to take sides and not to be partisan and political again, but in 8 years, Barack Obama authorized 2,200 drone strikes.
Right.
Supposedly he had a kill list of people, bad guys that he wanted gone. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
He was keeping our men and women safe by deploying drones. Now,
Right.
it's
a good thing.
He made some mistakes.
Right.
He hit a wedding party, killed 44 people, 20
Right.
of which were children.
Yeah. Not good.
Our president would be strung up on the National Mall right now if he did that.
Oh, no question.
But again, I'm not criticizing the Obama administration. I'm not criticizing Leon Panetta. They were doing what needed to be done at the time.
Right.
So let this guy do what needs to be done at the time.
Yeah, I think so. And wouldn't you agree? I think, and this is totally just stuff that plays in my mind. I can see anybody that becomes president, whether it was Trump, Obama, Bush, whomever, Clinton, on and on and on. So they have all this stuff they want to do. They get elected, and then they bang, and then there's that 3-month wait until they actually get to be president. I think they walk in a room and say, look, okay, it's like, congratulations, you're our president. However, here's the way foreign policy is going to work.
Sure. Especially with an outsider like him.
Right. So here's what you're allowed. Here's the pecking order. Here's how we're going to do things. So just because it ain't him. It's impossible.
Right.
There's no way. It would be insane. I don't care who it is, to allow one person to make all the decisions of
course.
in terms of anything violent, or retaliatory or aggression, it's impossible. So when you blame whomever, Obama, Trump, doesn't matter. Insert the name.
It's lazy and it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
It is lazy. I don't know if you're a fan of Victor Davis Hanson.
No.
He had a really good podcast last week, and one of the things he said was, you talk about the swamp in the deep state, and you have people in the State Department
Share this stuff out, guys.
that have been there for 15, 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
A president is elected by the people to serve 4 or possibly 8 years.
Right.
This is a gnat on their shoulder. This is an interloper. This is a nuisance to these people who are setting, delegating policy every day for their entire careers. Right or wrong.
That's their life.
That's their life. And now you're going to come in and you're going to upset my apple cart?
No, not happening.
Right. So
That's interesting. That's true, right?
That's where a lot of this hatred, these, if you want to call them swamp dwellers or if you want to call them career State Department officials, whatever. It's like if you were running a dealership and all of a sudden your dealer principal said, I'm bringing in a guy over you, never sold cars before, never managed a showroom, much less a whole facility.
Right.
And what he says goes. And by the way, Craig,
Yeah.
your job might be on the line.
Right.
Sorry about your $4,000 a month mortgage and your kids' braces, but I'm going to trust this guy to do the right thing.
Yeah.
We aren't going to be happy.
Similar. That's true. How about Ginsburg? Do you think? I mean, I see them pulling a weekend at Bernie's with Ginsburg. I don't. They
If
can't.
they haven't already.
Is she alive? Could she be? Is she still alive? That's not. That's not funny.
She
We're
just
making,
tweeted
what's wrong
that
with her? Does she have cancer or no?
Man, she's the Iron Lady. She
Right?
just tweeted
What
yesterday
is she,
that
90?
she's cancer-free, 88, 89.
Yeah.
She tweeted that she's cancer-free.
Can you imagine what would happen? They'll lose their minds again. Something happens to her, God forbid. I don't want, they'll lose their minds.
Oh,
because who's
Kavanaugh,
Trump going to put
Kavanaugh
in
hearings
next?
going to walk in the park compared to what they do.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh man.
We don't. It's not in our DNA to do that. I'm not going to make a judgment about civil disobedience, but on the right, conservatives normally don't do that. And the humorous way to dismiss it is that's because we all got a job to go to.
Right.
That's not true.
No.
These people. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the left in their ability to speak with one voice,
Yeah.
to circle the wagons,
They do.
to march in lockstep.
They do.
We don't have that.
We don't.
What's up with Rand Paul and Mike Lee two senators that are criticizing our commander-in-chief. This is not the time to be showing cracks in the armor, to be showing division within the party when he's getting just completely harassed by the other side.
Yeah.
But
although, so isn't it like a handful, 5, 6, 7 Democrats in the Senate are like, hey, let's go. Let's get.
Oh, yeah.
Present the articles. Let's go.
They're in largely swing states. Their jobs are at risk. This is not what they were elected to come to Washington to do.
Yeah.
Levin brought an interesting point up last night on his podcast. When is the last time that the House Intelligence Committee, led by Adam Schiff, did anything that had to do with foreign policy, intelligence, keeping this country safe, keeping our men and women deployed safe?
Right. No,
it's all been impeachment.
Right. Since before he was elected, actually.
Yeah.
Right from jump.
Time he came down
Right
the
from
escalator.
jump.
Yeah. So
Get down the escalator. How about South Park? So I read something the other day. It was like,
Simpsons.
hey, listen, Simpsons. Don't worry about war unless it's on the Simpsons. It ain't happening. It's not going to happen. It's on the Simpsons. Then we start to worry.
Matt Groening is this generation's Nostradamus.
How did they get that elevator shot, dude? It was identical.
I know.
I mean, how many years? Unbelievable.
Yep.
Him coming down the elevator, escalator. Unbelievable.
Spooky.
Simpsons, greatest show on TV.
I think so.
One of the greatest ever. Really one of the greatest ever. But yeah, I see a weekend in Bernie's with Ginsburg. I mean, Trump would almost have to, at some point, he could be in a position where he's almost going to have to put somebody up there that's liberal, just to make it look fair.
I've read that there's rumors that if they weren't so old,
Right.
Turley's in his late 60s, Dershowitz in
That's
his
young.
mid-70s. But this would be an olive branch to the left because they are Democrats.
Right.
Both of them publicly proclaimed, I did not vote for this man. I
Right.
don't agree with his policies.
Right.
But on these certain issues,
Right.
I am a constitutionalist.
Right.
So I think that would be throwing
Right.
an olive branch out to the left
Almost
by
have to.
nominating a Dershowitz or a Turley. I don't care if we have another liberal judge if that liberal judge sets his or her politics aside
Right.
and judges based on the Constitution. The
Right.
Constitution is not a living interpretive document. Our founding fathers said things in very, very specific ways. And I really discount the argument that, well, when the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were authored, we were a largely agrarian society of only 400,000 people. And
Agrarian, what does that mean? I don't know.
we're
that.
farmers.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
And to me, that's bullshit because the tenets set forth in the Bill of Rights, they don't change because now there's 350 million of us.
But maybe it should. It's interesting. It's mind-blowing how brilliant these people were to come up with this. Mm-hmm. And most of it's still relevant. The only thing that plays with my head a little bit is maybe there shouldn't be a president. Maybe it should look a little different. It's just that might be a little archaic. I don't know. It's just like, can't we get like 10 really crazy smart people? And I don't know what it would look like, but it's just, oh man, at some point,
I think the frame of reference
run.
for that is you've got 435 members in the House of Representatives, another 100 in the Senate.
That's right.
Their aggregate approval rating for the last 20 years, public approval, has never gotten over 15%.
Right, yeah.
They get nothing accomplished.
Right. Well, they lump car salesmen, lawyers, and Congress people together, so it's the bottom of the barrel.
Well, it's nice to be on a rung higher than them.
Right?
But
are we?
If you had a triumvirate or president by committee, you just have another branch of government that is in a form of stasis. Nothing's getting done.
Most of the problem is there's too many of us. There's too many freaking people. It's 350 million people or whatever it is. Yeah. It's too many people.
I agree.
You get over 1,000 people, it's a problem. There's going to be like unsolvable problems.
Especially when you bring.
Do you like my hair, by the way? Did you notice? I'm growing it out.
I thought those were plugs, dude.
I'm going.
No, I think
such a funny guy.
Your hair is fantastic.
I know. I'm the youngest man in the car business. I'm going to grow it like really long, I think.
I think
Just
that'd be a
gonna let
good
it go.
look for you. You've got the elongated face for it. You know.
Right. So you just called me a horse face.
Just go for that Barry Gibb look.
Yeah. Barry Gibb. You have called me Barry Gibb, man.
Well, you look just.
I'm
like
not
the
sure
guy.
if I should be offended by that or not.
You could probably pick up MILFs by going into bars.
MILFs?
Affecting a
I'm
Cockney
68
accent.
years old. It would have to be a 90-year-old woman.
Hi, I'm Barry Gibb. What's your name? Come here often?
And the lights always on in Massachusetts. That's right. We're going to bring you all the BG hits.
All right, let's talk about the car business.
I don't want to. I really don't want to. How about, okay, just one more thing. Ricky Gervais, did you see? I swear to you, knowingly, unless it was years ago when I was drinking, I don't remember ever watching the Golden Globes. I mean, has that been like forever? Is that like the Academy Awards? Mm-hmm. So I don't remember, but the football game was on, and I was just tired or lazy or whatever, and it went right into the Golden Globes, and out comes Ricky Gervais. And that had to be 13 minutes of the most entertaining television I've watched in a while, network TV. Mm-hmm. It was funny, man. He leveled that room.
Oh, he touched on all points.
He hit everything. And it's like, these people are so full of themselves. And he said it at least 2 times. He might have said, folks, these are jokes. And they still were like, oh, you know. It's like, I mean, he hit everything. Harvey Weinstein. How about Harvey Weinstein? This guy, remember I said, it's been said here on the Recruiter podcast, whether he is found guilty or innocent, whatever, especially innocent, all hell's going to break loose. This guy is so talented, someone will bring him back. Someone will still hire him because he's got the Midas touch. The guy really knows his stuff. Mm-hmm. As much of a piece of garbage as this guy is and what he's done to people, this guy will absolutely he'll get another gig just because of the way Hollywood is. But then after I'm sitting there literally laughing out loud in my house, Dixie's looking at me like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I'm laughing, and they get all the crowd reaction and everything, and then these people come up, and you know, the one woman, I forget her name, was said her whole career was. I'm going to screw this up. I probably shouldn't even. But it's like she is where she is today because she decided to have an abortion. Yeah. Words to that effect. Mm-hmm. I'm screwing that up, and I apologize. So that's because there's more to that story. But then the Arquette woman, like, oh my God, sunglasses and her boobs up around her shoulders and trying to be, climate change. The Australian fires? Mm-hmm. I did some research on this. I never knew this. But, everyone's outraged. It's climate change outrage, right? Mm-hmm. There's been fires in Australia. There's a fire season every year. And this is like gone over and over and over and over and over again. And it's just like now we decided, okay, well, it's climate change. So it's like, Trump went over there and set fires to Australia. And it's his fault. But these have been going on for 1 million years. I had no idea it got that high. It's like 120 degrees there. Like, hello? And it's always been like this? It's like, okay.
Well, in 2007, reacting to pressure from the greenies, the green industry, the Australian government, did away with the practice of brush burning. And, brush burning is something that even the American Indians were smart enough to know to do 300 years ago.
Right.
Take care of all the forest ground cover.
Right. You mean Native Americans, of course.
I'm sorry. Did I say Indians?
You did.
At least I didn't say Indians.
You didn't.
No, I didn't. And you mitigate the severity of naturally occurring fires, which these weren't. They're starting to find out that most of them are arson.
Yeah, a lot. That number, I read a number 24 people were nabbed for arson, and then there was 300. It's like, come on.
Yeah, Greta Thunberg is absolutely apoplectic right now. What do you mean it was arson? How dare you?
Was it you that posted a meme of her with a got my first boyfriend or something?
Yeah, fuck
Did you do
climate
that?
change, I got a boyfriend. And she's all made up.
I'm looking at that, laughing my ass off. God, oh my God, wouldn't that be funny? That'll happen. That poor girl, man. What they've
She's being used as a tool. Actually, two tools: a hammer and a sickle. But same thing's going on in California, and they ridiculed Trump when he said, you got to rake the underbrush. He was using the term rake, and of course they
right.
latched onto that verb. Oh, he wants us to go in there with rakes and rake the underbrush. What's the matter with this idiot?
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Are we on we're on a time delay?
It is.
In case I drop an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Is the millionaire producer going to?
Yeah.
Beep.
Yeah. No. It's just we're on.
No. Frank Lopes. I counted Frank Lopes at 22. No, he didn't. Hi, Frank.
What?
Frank Lopes had 22.
Oh, that's right. F-bombs? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's part of his charm.
Look at all you crazy people that watch this show. Anthony, you're right. Bart Simpson is the man.
He is the man.
Guys,
I
share this stuff out, guys.
I have a Bart Simpson T-shirt from Aruba when we went on our honeymoon in 1990. It's Bart Simpson with a Rastafarian wig.
Oh, nice.
And, the way they say hello in Aruba is Bombini. And the shirt
Bombini,
says,
that's
Bombini,
right.
dude.
There's a clip of, now that you say that, there's a clip of Tom Hanks' son going full Rastafarian. Have you seen these?
No.
You guys Google this. Google, I don't know, Tom Hanks' son, Rastafarian, or it's like I guess he's a singer, rapper, whatever. It's hilarious. The guy talks full Rastafarian, and what was the word you just said? What was it?
Bombini?
Yeah, he says that. And it just reminded me of that. I've been watching it. I've been going down some weird rabbit holes lately, man. Weird rabbit holes. Obviously, based on this podcast. Obviously.
Well, if you want to get back to the Hollywood stars.
Let's do that. Let's talk Hollywood.
4 generations ago, with the advent of mass communication, radio, television, film.
Right.
Prior to that,
Right.
performers, actors, musicians, they were considered little better than court jesters.
Right. That's true.
They were employed to provide us with recreation and yucks.
Yes.
And at some point, around the Cecil B. DeMille time.
Right. Well, what was the first big TV show? Howdy Doody? So, I mean, it's like, okay. And Captain Kangaroo.
And Clarabelle.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, at some point, when they could be now, you take the Jewish performers that were working in the Borscht Belt for Ziegfeld, in vaudeville, making $6 a performance. All of a sudden, they have a nationwide, a worldwide audience.
Hello.
Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks, and then of course
you knew most of those people personally.
I did. Mary Pickford and I had a torrid affair.
Right.
I was too big for her.
So,
So all of a sudden, we were looking up to these people, and of course, then Hollywood grew roots and sprang up.
Right.
And there was this mecca for all these people to go, and everybody was
Right.
like, "I want to be like them."
right.
When only a generation ago, back in the days the days of knights of yore, court jesters would kneel by the king and the queen when
Right.
they were eating,
Right.
and instead of using napkins, they'd wipe their hands in the hair of the court jesters.
How do you know this? Are you making this shit
No,
up?
I'm not making this shit up.
All right.
And the king would say, "Fool, make me laugh," and if the fool didn't make the king laugh, he got beheaded. So now we've elevated these people to not only star status. I have no problem with that, but
Right.
I do not want to hear your political views. A la
Right.
Ricky Gervais, you probably dropped out of high school. I liken it to young athletes. A kid is 12 years old and he's already got a 28-inch vertical jump, or you got a 275-pound nose tackle who's running a 4.7 40. At about 13, 14 years old, people stop saying no to these kids.
Yeah, they do.
And these adults are starting to see dollar signs. How do I hitch my wagon onto this kid's star? They don't get...
That's true. Yeah. That is true. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a very small community 30 miles east of Cleveland on a farm, in a farming community. My junior year, we were 10-0. We were undefeated as a football team. Free haircuts. What was I, 16? Walk in, my mother take me to get a haircut. Oh, that's free. Yeah, it was like at 16.
Titans eat for free.
It was, yeah, right? It was weird. Stuff like that, it just, we're no different. I mean, here, so what do we have a platform here with the podcast, and, 5,000-6,000 people or whatever are going to see this thing. So, and it's just opinions, right? I mean, we're just talking shit. The entertainers are doing the same thing. They have a much bigger platform, but I don't take myself seriously, man. It's just like, I just don't. It's like, I know that I don't know anything, and we're either misinformed or uninformed, right? And we can't possibly, no one knows everything. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Right. Our president does it. Everybody, there's secrets everywhere.
Well, maybe Jim Ziegler.
Jim Ziegler might know everything. The dude might know everything.
Surprises me.
He is a smart son of a bitch, isn't he?
He is.
He really is.
And he's got that slow Southern, and he'll jump right up and bite you in the ass.
Jim Ziegler
bright man.
Has said things over time. It just keep coming true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, and it's like so many other things. It's like you pay attention because it's Ziegler when he's saying it, but then 3-4 years later, it's like, oh shit, you nailed it. He hit it with the Nissan guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he's almost undefeated.
Yeah.
Jim, shout out to Jim. I hope you're feeling okay, Jim.
Jim and Debbie.
Hi guys, good to see y'all. Hey guys, share this stuff out. This is a unique podcast. I don't know. I don't know if you guys like it or not. I don't know. I'm having a good time. So
that's all it counts.
Should we talk about the car business? I don't know. Gervais. It was just so funny, man. That whole thing. I actually watched the whole thing.
They deserved it. They got their comeuppance. And, we
So he's thank your agents, thank your God, take your little prize and get the F off. It's like hilarious.
Nobody wants to hear you.
No. Well, people do want to hear him, but the people that want to hear him are weird too. I wish, what's interesting, I think, is that I'd like to think that the people that don't say anything are really closet conservatives, and they know that their jobs depend on them not to toe the line and not shake things up. I'd love to think that Brad Pitt is like a real dude. He is the most beautiful man on the face of the planet.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, you could agree with it. The guy's 58 years old. He's a beautiful man. He's a beautiful man. I can't imagine what it'd be like.
I was somewhat uncomfortable when he was up on the roof in
the
Hollywood Story, and I hear my wife starting to breathe heavy next to me.
Right? Yeah. He's 58 years old.
I know.
Guy's beautiful.
Yeah, well, when you're worth $400 million and you can work out morning, noon, and night, when you got a chef, when you got a personal trainer.
I guess. I guess.
Yeah. Think he could take ups in a Kia store? I don't.
Oh, he'd kill. Are you kidding me? I'd buy a car from him because he's so beautiful. He's beautiful.
All right, moving right along.
Well, I don't know. You want to get off that topic? Makes you uncomfortable. I don't know. Like that says something about you. I don't know. Melissa Skinner. What are you saying, Melissa?
I prefer Leonardo.
Really?
No.
Come on, man.
Hi, Melissa.
Get back to work. You don't have to get back to work, Melissa. Oh, yes, you do. That's right. You work with AutoMax. You have to get back to work.
James Steele on?
Haven't seen him.
Israel?
Nope.
Greg Nichols?
Nope. Nobody's watching today, man. Nobody likes you.
I know that. I'm not a likable person.
It's unbelievable. Of all the guests I could have had on, it's got to be you.
I know.
And you drove all the way down from Connecticut. How is it you and I live in two of the most liberal states in the country? We're probably top 10, right? What would the order be? What would it be? California would be number 1. New York would be number 2.
Massachusetts
Massachusetts would be number 3, you think?
Connecticut, New Jersey, Illinois, Colorado, Washington, Oregon,
Oh, yeah. Oregon, yeah, for sure.
Vermont. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Vermont.
Yeah. So there's your 10.
I love Vermont. It's so beautiful there. Really is beautiful there. New Hampshire. New Hampshire's pretty liberal, right?
Not well. Starting to, but they really take the state motto "Live free or die" pretty seriously.
Live for a day. Yeah.
You can open carry in New Hampshire.
Oh, can you?
Oh yeah.
When I was 18, I had broke my girlfriend all through high school broke up with me. Totally my fault. I did some really bad stuff. So she was going to, it was in Montpelier. What's the name of the college there? Vermont College, I think, in Montpelier, in the capital. It's a pretty city. So I go up there. She refused to talk to me, this and that. So I said, okay, screw it. So I hitchhiked. So I was hitchhiking out of the state. No, I was in New Hampshire. I got picked up by a guy I went to high school with, Devin Jameson. Jeez, that's so weird. I remember his name. He had disappeared. He joined the Children of God. No, that's not true. He did that later. At this point, he was a counselor for inner city children in Meredith, New Hampshire. And he lived on, there was a half a dozen or so teepees, like literal teepees, filled with inner city kids from New York City. Mostly African American, but all minorities. And so somehow I bumped into him in Boston. Jeez, this is a weird story. We're sitting at a bar outside the Boston Commons drinking Harvey Wallbangers. And we're getting and I've never had one. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, they were horrible. And I got so drunk, and he said he was living in these teepees, and what he was doing, he says, if you don't have a place to stay, I said, don't have a place to stay. Dude, I'm like hitchhiking across the country, so yeah, I don't have a place to stay. He said, come up there for a while. So I go up there. It was like living in teepees with these guys for like a week or 10 days. So for whatever reason, it's time for me to leave. Oh, well, I know, because he was going to Kent, England to join the Children of God. Boy. Bad cult.
Okay.
Big time bad cult. So I start hitchhiking. I get arrested.
For hitchhiking?
Yeah.
Really?
And get booked for vagrancy because I had like $11 on me. So they put me in jail in New Hampshire, in Meredith, outside of Meredith, New Hampshire.
Uh-huh.
And they take my shoelaces and my belt so I don't hang myself for vagrancy. And I had...
Craig Epstein.
Right. Yeah, Epstein didn't kill himself. So, and I've got all these roach clips. Remember roach clips? And they'd have, and these had feathers on the ends of them and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And so I had a ton of them on me. And they said, what are these? I said, they're trinkets. So they marked it off in the thing. And when they released me from jail, and it was like, so I had $11 on me. So I had to pay for my own lunch while I was in jail. I was in there, I don't know, a week maybe? Whatever it was.
How was the food?
It was McDonald's that I had to pay for.
Wow.
39 cents a burger or whatever it was at the time. And then, so they leave me out, and I said, dude, I no longer have $11. I have $1.88. So like, what
am I supposed to do?
Right. It said walk out of New Hampshire. So it took me 3 days. I walked out of New Hampshire. Walked. And I was gone for 13 months.
Damn.
Literally walked across the country.
Huh.
From up there to, down to Florida, across to New Orleans, Texas, Colorado, sleeping by the Snake River. Freaking crazy stuff, man. Driving through the the redwoods in Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
So I get picked up by this family. I'm stoned. This family, I don't know what they were thinking. My hair was halfway down my back. I mean, I looked like, I was the caricature of a hippie, right? A station wagon, 2 kids, mom and dad, 2 kids, and they picked me up. They put me in the back in the third seat of a old, I don't know, it might have been a Country Squire wagon or
Facing
something.
rearward.
Yes. Yeah. So I come to, I wake up and I look, and we had just gone through this hole, and it's like, it's a tree. It's like, stop the car. And it's like, what's wrong? I said, no, I'm getting out here. And I went through that tree 3 times. I got rides through the tree. I'd walk like, I don't know, a quarter mile or something on the other side of the tree.
Just because it seemed like the thing to do.
Drive through a tree? Hello? What could be more important? Oh, crazy. Walking through, and I can't remember. I've tried to remember it. I can't pinpoint it, but it was either North or South Dakota, probably South Dakota, and it's open range. So, I'm walking, and it's like, would it be moose in South Dakota? Probably. And I'm on a road, and there's nobody, and I look out, and it's, I don't know how far you can actually see, but what can you see? Quarter of a mile or half a mile, whatever. And I see these big freaking things. Like, look like dinosaurs, man. It's like, and I guess they were moose, or they could have been elk. But they were huge, man. Is an elk, what's an elk? 1,000 pounds? Or no?
Bigger than 1,500.
Are they that
Sure.
big?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow, is that beautiful? And then it's like, oh, shit, there's no fences. Like, can somebody pick me up, man? No, luckily, no, or I'd have been dead. Well, what a trip. What a trip. Unbelievable.
See, stuff like that is wasted when you're young. Wouldn't it be nice to do that now?
Yeah, with $50,000 in your pocket.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A $300,000 diesel pusher RV.
Would be cool. I talked about this with, oh shit, what time is it? I got to do this. What time is it? Do you know?
It is
11:08.
11:08.
Okay, so
Thank
we got
you, producer.
22 minutes. So, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
Shit, must have been a lie. Crap. We're talking about hitchhiking. We're talking about... Oh! So I posted this thing about Tesla. I got a cramp.
You got a cramp.
Oh!
Go to commercial.
Oh, wow, that hurt. Oh. Whoa. So I posted this thing, and Jason, a bunch of people jumped on it, and this and that. And I know we should hate Tesla because no franchise dealers and this and that. I get it. We should all be on that board. However, I really am thinking about a Tesla Cybertruck. I really am.
Oh, God.
I really, honestly, got it. I'm thinking it's a perfect. I don't know about perfect.
It's pretty cool looking.
But yeah, I think if it ends up even looking like that, who knows what it's going to look like. But for an Armageddon vehicle, it might be a good idea. I don't know. What would be a really good Armageddon vehicle that you can think of right now, other than something ridiculous like a tank or whatever? Would a Hummer be? I don't know. What would be a good one?
A real serious Land Rover. Not the the pussy soccer mom.
Right. Would you go gas or electric for an Armageddon vehicle? What's going to go out first?
I think you got to go with diesel.
Oh, diesel.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Or propane. You could put a big ass propane tank in the back, right?
Mm-hmm. Electric's going to go first. Once the grid's down, and everything follows that. Your pumps that pump diesel and gasoline out of the ground are attached to the grid, to the internet. Everything is.
Dude, have you seen the tactical shovel? Have you seen this new shovel that can? It's like a Swiss Army knife shovel.
Oh yeah, with the spear in it, and yeah.
And it lights a fire. It's got flint and stuff to light a fire,
Yeah, all the
and this
different
stuff cuts.
sections.
Yeah.
it's pretty
Joanna ordered one for me,
Okay.
right?
They're pretty neat.
I think
They're
so.
not cheap.
No, this is
A couple $100.
150 maybe,
Okay.
149,
made out of-
whatever on Amazon.
Aircraft grade aluminum. And
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
all
it cuts
waterproof.
freaking metal.
Yeah.
Cuts trees down, digs like a shovel. I mean, it does everything. Lights fires. It's like, I'm telling it's great Armageddon material. Really
You're going to
good
need
stuff.
stuff like that.
I think so. I think we are.
The next, and that's the funny thing about all the, World War III. World War III is not going to be fought conventionally. It's going to be fought in cyberspace.
Oh, gosh. You folks that are listening to this thing, I'm sorry. All I can do is apologize.
Why? Who's commenting?
Nobody. If I was on the other side of this thing, I'd be going, oh, really? These guys. The car business. Should we talk about the car business?
Well, I think to fulfill our contractual obligation, we
So,
must.
So I talked to you on the phone a week ago. I don't know, whatever it was. And I was spouting off. I shouldn't talk with my mouth full.
How do you make a piece of cheese crunch?
Well, the only way to eat this, 2 grapes, then a piece of cheese, then a cracker. Those all put together are a taste sensation. They're really good that way. Hey, Ernie.
Hi, Ernie.
So what was I saying? Oh, so we were talking,
Yeah.
and it was, and I was spouting off about people talking badly about old car dogs, the old way of doing things, old school automotive, guys from the 70s and 80s, and now because people are so much younger, although no one's younger than me in the car business, I'm the youngest man in the car business, but all these people
Okay, boomer.
hammering,
attitude.
because now you got 25, 28-year-old experts now talking about, the 90s, we were all, clueless and so forth. So let me just share some bombs of information with some of you younger people who I love, and you're important in the car business. Some of you couldn't have lasted 2 hours in an automobile dealership in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. You literally couldn't. You would have left there crying. And not because anyone was mean to you, you just wouldn't have been able to handle it. Wouldn't have been able to handle it. There's no way. See, the way the automobile business has progressed, thankfully, because it's better. The car business, the industry as a whole, it's never been as good as it is.
I
now.
agree.
Never.
I agree.
Not even close. However, for car people from their 20s, 30s, and 40s, the people that came before you, we paid the price for what you're doing now. I'm going to tell you what. To sell car, I started selling cars at a Plymouth dealership. On the firewall of every single Plymouth, every single Chrysler product was something called a ballast resistor. It was a ceramic. It looked almost like the clock here. It was a piece of ceramic with a plug that you would plug into the firewall in the engine compartment. And if that went bad, the car shut down and wouldn't start. We would, on delivery of a brand new car, give them a second one to put in their glove box.
I thought you were going to say you bypassed it with tinfoil.
Those cars were so bad. I mean, they'd come in. Plymouth would come in with Dodge Dart tags on the emblems on them.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it was almost humorous. I was selling Plymouths in 1974. Or when was the oil embargo? 74, 75, whenever it was.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it became a federal law to post the miles per gallon on the window of a new automobile.
Right.
We're sitting there with a car that was called a Grand Fury. It was like 40 foot long, weighed 9,000 pounds, and it said 6 miles per gallon. Right, and there were gas lines, and and we're what was it, alphabetical, or how could you get your gas? I forget.
Alternate days.
Alternate days, and here we're supposed to sell these cars that say 6 miles per gallon. It was like you folks, you don't have a clue. You really don't have a clue. Really don't have a clue. It was unbelievable. We had to. I mean, we would fax on the old, the curly fax paper. Right. A credit application, or better yet, we would call the bank. As a salesman.
Yeah, even before the fax.
Right. We would call the bank, say, here's all the information on the guy. And the banker, an actual banker, on the other end of the phone would say, well, what do you think? I don't know. He looks like he paid to me. All right, well, can you get a little more down? Yeah, I can get another 100 or two. Okay, let's take a shot. Right? And
Well,
it was like
you had a relationship with your buyers.
you did. It was unbelievable.
And, a lot of the GMAC loan centers, the bank loan centers were local. You take them to basketball games, bring them a dozen bagels.
All right.
There was no tiered pricing.
Yeah. Now, was stuff done illegally back then? Yeah. Did people get lied to? Yeah. Are things done illegal today? Yes. Do people get lied to today? Yes. It's a little different, but the word transparency absolutely kills me. It just blows my mind. It's like, I don't know. There was I might take some shit from this because actually it's a friend, but there was a live I saw last week about someone going shopping for a car. It's a long story, but at any rate, it's like the person withheld information or lied to the salesperson, and then got pissed because of the treatment. Right?
Yeah.
So it is like, wait a minute. It's like buyers are liars. That's been around since I've been around.
Sure.
And it's like, well, wait, if you don't want to get lied to, don't lie. Don't start a lie. In our industry, we can be so much better. We can be so much better. And it all starts not just because I happen to be the founder and president of the premier automotive recruitment company in the world, AutoMax Recruiting. However, it all starts with the hire.
Yep.
And based on some of the things that we're getting into, and shout out to my son Joe Lockard, who's the director of operations for AutoMax, and his focus on emotional intelligence, it's become very clear to me that our focus as an industry when hiring anybody, I don't care if it's a lot porter to a CFO, the first thing that we have to look at is that person's emotional intelligence, their self-awareness, their empathy. And so it is absolutely imperative. More important than IQ, more important than experience, more important than, they had 3 jobs in the last 5 years, more important than what they've made, more important than, I'm King Kong and I turned this deal around, turned that deal around. Great. What was your emotional intelligence like? Let me give you an example. I think we're extending the formal offer today to a new hire. We had an awesome year last year. Really blessed. Really awesome year. Based on a lot of really good decisions, hard work, talented people.
Yep.
So Joe was telling me I said, how'd your interview with this potential new hire go? I hit her with all our emotional intelligence because we're switching the interview a little bit. And we're adding this into the AutoMax hire portion of what we do, the remote recruiting. And she told a story that she had worked with. She had a problem with her previous supervisor. Bad problem. Bad. Nobody, it was the old story. No, everybody hated this person. No one liked this person. It was a despicable human being. When you start hearing that in a job interview, it's like, oh God, okay,
Right.
This is going to be a problem. So Joe went deeper. So she's telling the story. And so what happened? Nobody liked this person. This person, I might get a little of the story screwed up, but I think it was a blizzard or something, or her car wouldn't start or something. It was a big problem. So I think it was she put out a blast text to all the people that worked for her or under her, and, I need help. Can somebody come get me? This and that and another thing. And so the person we're looking to hire, and I think we're putting out the formal offer today, like I said, said to her husband, I'm going to go pick her up. I'm going to help her. And her husband said, are you out of your mind? What this woman's done to you and treated you like? Are you, what? No. She said, oh yeah, I'm going to help. Right? Mm-hmm. That's emotional intelligence. That's the kind of person that we have to hire in a dealership. That's the kind of person that we have to look at. Those are the kind of questions and the kind of things that I want to know. If I'm going to align myself, if someone's going to represent my brand, my name, my department, whatever it might be, I want people that I know have emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that are listening, Google emotional intelligence. And you can actually Google emotional intelligence interview questions, and there's just a lot of information on it. It's so important. I would ask that all our audience, when you're interviewing people, that you really go after that first. Really go after it first, because we're spending so much time in a dealership with other men and women that it's important to know who that person really is, not who they portray themselves to be during an interview, not who they pretend to be during their work day, but who they really deep down in their heart and soul are.
AutoMax recruiting, my impression is that you are ahead of the curve of most HR departments. You talk about culture in dealerships. I think one of the areas, I'm not going to use the word poisonous, but one of the areas that I think is backwards and somewhat antithetical to the success of a dealership is the HR department.
No question.
Background check, P test. Have you ever been fired from a job? Would you characterize yourself as a hunter or a farmer? And they make hiring decisions based on those questions. Right. I like to tell a story. I was doing F&I in the early 90s at Herb Chambers Hyundai Mitsubishi in Hartford. And the dealership was right across the street from the Hartford Correctional Institute. And, we didn't have H&R in the car business until, the late 90s, early 2000s.
Probably.
One day, this guy, Turkish guy, by the name of Jimmy Yilmaz, good man, walks in the dealership. Got to Joe Caldarello, the general manager. I just left jail. I've been in jail for 3 months on an assault charge. I got in a fight in a bar. I'm telling you, I'm bearing my soul.
Right.
I need a job. I got nothing.
Right.
And all I can promise is I'll listen to whoever trains me, and I'll work hard for you. And Joe Caldarello took a gut-feeling shot on this guy and cleaned him up. And within 6 months, Jimmy was selling mid to high teens.
Yeah.
Within a year, salesman of the month every single month.
Right.
Never, ever, ever would have made it past the normal accepted
No way.
Recruiting and hiring processes that most dealers and dealerships and dealer groups. He's still in the business. He's up at Hartford Toyota. He's a 20-car-a-month stud. First time he hit, and Joe Caldarello was a great guy. He had a big heart. First time he made Salesman of the Month, Joe took him down to Stackpole Moore and Tryon in Hartford, which is a men's store.
Oh.
And he bought him 2 suits. And Jimmy was so out of his mind thrilled. I mean, this guy came from nothing.
Yeah.
And Joe took him under his wing. I mean, it's what you could do back in, quote-unquote, the day.
Yeah, you still do that.
he wouldn't take the tags off the suit. He wore the tags as a point of pride. He would
Hart Schaffner Marks.
he would tell customers, Mr. Joe Caldrello bought me these suits for being number one salespeople. The friggin' tags ended up falling off. He had them on so long.
Yeah.
What 28-year-old gatekeeper HR assistant is going to give that guy
Yeah, nobody.
a chance?
Very
and
few.
that's the kind of guy that with AutoMax,
Yeah.
with the kind of talent, with the gut
Right.
talent that
Right.
exists
Right.
in your organization,
Yeah.
which I'm proud to say I'm going to be working with you
That's
again.
right. Chris Walsh coming back to AutoMax.
You guys got, Anthony talks about it all the time. Taking what everybody, and he uses his personal
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted me.
Nope.
So how can I look at somebody,
Right.
and of course, Anthony's also a poker player. He's a
Yep.
gambler.
Yeah.
And as we watch him mature on social media, this guy can look in. I hate to use the comparison, but it's like when George Bush said, "I looked into his eyes and I saw his soul." You have several individuals, and you want to talk about old-time car guys and laugh at us. Now, there's two types of old-time car guys. They're the ones that have survived that are still saying, "Can I help you?"
Right.
And are still writing down, so, who's the car for?
Right.
What are you trying to achieve?
Right.
Versus the older guys, we talked about Ziegler.
I'm waiting.
Embrace the
Social and technology, right?
embrace the way this business has advanced.
Right.
But you cannot discount someone who has spent 25, 30, 35 years in this business, seen everything. You're like me. I have personally been involved in the sale, financing, delivery of 10,000 plus vehicles.
Yeah.
Now, there are guys that can say, I've been in this business for 30 years. No, you've been in this business 1 year and you've repeated it 29 times. Okay, they are somewhat deserving of the scorn and derision
Right.
which they get.
Right.
But to be able to take a recruit, and this is the beauty, and I'm not going to name your competitions, but I know that you have a couple of competing companies that are
Right.
formulaic,
Right.
that don't prescribe to this type of tactic of
Right.
being able to, what's the first question that a trainer asks the dealer or GM on a Monday morning?
Yeah. What am I doing?
What's a game changer?
Right, yeah.
What's a deal killer for you? Mm-hmm. What did you? I'm sorry. Did
Right,
you just
what
say no
aren't you
women?
looking for?
I can't do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Facial ink, piercings, hair, and I'm going to tell you right now, if I spot somebody that I truly believe, based on my experience in this business and
Right.
in the world after
Right.
6 decades,
Right.
I'm not going to not introduce that individual to
Right.
you because he or she may have,
Right.
a stud in
Right.
his nose.
It's stupid.
Of course it is.
It's stupid. It okay. After what time is it?
It's got to be 11:30.
All right, let me do something. We got to thanks. This thing ain't free, so we've got All Systems Go AV. By the way, is an awesome studio located in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. If you're local and would like to get into the world of podcasting, they have a great setup here, and I would urge you to reach out to these folks. Or if you're a car dealer or whatever, I don't know who listens to this show. All kind of crazy people is in our audience, but their use of video, they do stuff, man. I mean, it is motion picture quality. They're at the top of their game, man. These folks here, they're all young guys. They're like all 13, 14-year-olds that own this place. They do an awesome job. We recommend them highly. What they do is terrific. It's top notch. So, but they're really expensive. No, I'm only kidding. But anyway, we got to find a way to pay
This
for
is
this
a nice
stuff.
studio.
So we
It really
have.
is.
It is. It's nice. We got some really cool people jumping on right now. That's pretty interesting. Very cool people. So, hey, Jason, I'm gonna reach out to you here in a minute. But so first, I want to thank some friends of the program, and we're going to start with tCobi. That's TECOBI. tCobi.com. tCobi. And let me say this about tKobe. Wouldn't you love to capture interested buyers while they're looking at your ad and interact with them immediately? Wouldn't you like to do that? Wouldn't you? Would you like to do that, Chris?
Absolutely.
If you're running a dealership, wouldn't you like to be able to capture those buyers?
Nobody does it like Jason.
Nobody. Well, now you can by using Facebook lead generation ads plus tKobe software. You're able to capture interested buyers and respond to them immediately using text messaging, engaging the customer throughout the car buying experience. With tKobe, you have the ability to follow up by text, import other lead sources, and text blast up to 500 customers at a time within minutes. I think that figure's up. I think it's higher. I think this copy, we need to redo this copy a little bit, Jason. These guys are ridiculous. Their growth is
Meteoric.
it's borderline unbelievable. The reason that they've grown so much is why? Results. You grow when you provide results for your clients. So tKobe has grown. They're doing, I don't know, what's the last figures he put out? It was obscene, man. It was like, I don't know, they do, I don't know, $2 million in revenue in freaking first 2 weeks of January or some insane thing. Okay, well, the reason they're doing that and bringing in, raking in that kind of those stacks is results. Okay, it's results. So it's pretty simple. So visit tKobe, tKobe.com, tKobe.com. Learn how you can instantly message with your new leads. So with that, I'm going to give Mr. Jason Girdner a call here real quick. Hopefully Jason's available, and we're going to do this and see how this works out. Get that turned up.
What's going on, Craig?
Jason, we're just talking about you, dude.
Yeah, I was listening to it. There's probably a 3-minute delay.
Ah, yes, that's right. That's because Chris Walsh is here and he curses a lot. So
Hi, Jason. No, I don't.
you do too, man.
Fuck no.
Potty mouth.
The fuck I do.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, man.
So I just got done reading your live spot and talking about tKobe and how awesome you guys are. And I know you and I had a conversation yesterday, and I know you said, "Oh man, I don't want to pitch. I don't want to pitch tKobe." I said, "Okay, I get it. I understand." And totally respect that. So what we want to do now, if you could take a few minutes, do you have a few minutes? Is this cool for you?
Yep.
All right. So, I mean, you have a way of taking something that's very, very complicated, which is coding and your software, the whole platform, the whole idea. To me, anyway, because again, I'm basically a chimp. But to me, it's just I don't know. I don't understand the damn thing. But you break it down to where it's so simple, and the word no-brainer probably gets used too much in the car business. But from my point of view, what you, Dan, Scarlett, with all the ninjas, the whole team out there does is you take something that, to me at least, appears very, very complicated and make it very, very simple and consequently very effective because more people can use it. So could you just talk a little bit about Facebook, because that's really the wheelhouse, and texting and kind of how this all goes together and what it means for a dealer? Like what, I mean, there's no reason other than money and budget concerns that a dealer would bring up where they don't think they can afford it and they can't get their minds around the ROI until they see it. But the ROI is insane. I mean, for whatever, and I'm not going to mention numbers, but I know kind of what you guys charge. And the ROI is, I mean, it's obscene for dealers. I mean, we're talking about 100 times ROI. Is that, I'm not being ridiculous there, right?
I've seen it in some cases. I mean, 100 times is probably
that's
aggressive for most stores.
Yeah, that's true too.
and we've had them all over the spectrum. We're not perfect, and dealers also have their own unique challenges, and
Correct.
every store is a little different. But what happened was I started doing Facebook ads and built a texting platform that connects to the Facebook ads. I want to say, what is that? It's been three years ago now.
Right.
And we took off really fast. We had a relationship with PCG at the time, and they brought us a lot of customers. Dan was actually working there at the time. He was
Right.
an employee.
Right.
So they brought us a lot of customers. We grew really fast. Me and Scarlett were like, oh my God, we hit the jackpot. We were partying like it was 1999, thinking, oh, we're rich now. And then about 6 months into it, all the dealers started to cancel, and we didn't know why. And that's what sent me out traveling from dealership to dealership to figure out what was going on. I kind of got to the bottom of, I think we had about 30 active clients at the time, and it was like, okay, are we going to close shop, or are we going to take these Amex cards and advertise to bring in more clients, or are we going to, take the Amex cards and I'm going to travel around and figure out, why isn't it selling cars? We're getting a ton of leads, but the dealers just weren't selling enough to make the ROI have it make sense.
Right.
So I decided to take the Amex cards and start traveling from dealership to dealership. And what I realized as I traveled from dealership to dealership, because I went to every size dealership. I went to the largest Ford store in Texas to, used car store in the middle of the desert in California with 20 cars on the lot and steel fence around it. And and I saw every CRM imaginable in the industry. And what I noticed was the dealerships were having trouble with follow-up, whether it be training the sales guys how to use the CRM, and even if they were using it, just the overload of buttons that exist in the CRM. I mean, it's an overload of things you have to do in the CRM.
Yep.
Right.
And with Facebook leads, you do have a higher, I call it a mixed funnel lead. It's not really in-market shoppers. It's not really high funnel. It's just kind of people all over the spectrum.
Right.
But they do have more high funnel customers than, say, someone who went out and got a trade evaluation on KBB or something like that. So it had people that were further out in the buying process, and the dealers need to follow up for a longer period of time, which meant if the CRM was cumbersome and the follow-up time frame was not long enough, then they weren't getting those deals that may have taken 3 or 4 weeks for the customer to finally come in and buy a car. They were really just getting the people that needed that were ready to buy right now.
Right. Low-hanging fruit.
So the low-hanging fruit. So that's what got me really looking at a better process with our software to make that follow-up easier, and be able to follow up for a longer period of time. So some of these dealers, for example, that do have those really high ROIs, it's because they've been with us for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, a year, and they've built a really solid pipeline of leads that are continually being followed up with. So, and the reason we can do that is because the basis of our application is text message, and we don't have to rely on people to make phone calls to follow up with a lead.
Right.
You can, like you said in your thing, you can send out 1,000 follow-ups on leads into Kobe in 2 minutes.
Right.
So instead of having to go in and yell at your staff every morning, because I sat
Right.
in, when I was traveling, I sat in all these meetings, and almost every meeting I sat in, the entire topic of the meeting, it seemed like, was you got to make 20 phone calls, you got to make 30 phone calls, you got to make 40 phone calls.
Right. Sure.
Why aren't you making your phone calls?
Right.
It was just a negative meeting about why these guys weren't doing it. And I couldn't imagine, I know there's lazy salespeople out there, but I couldn't imagine that it would be so widespread, that there would be so many lazy salespeople that didn't want to make money across so many dealerships, across such an entire spread. So that's what said, okay, maybe it's our process. Maybe the process is too cumbersome. Maybe we're overthinking, which is kind of what we do when confronted with technology. We tend to think, okay, let's use it to do all this stuff, and sometimes all that stuff ends up being harder than just using paper.
Right. That's right. Yeah, we've gone through that. You're right.
And I know that because I was a telemarketer before we all had computers on our desktop, and we worked off of paper. And I went through the process of I was a high volume telemarketer, which is what it is in lead follow up. It's really telemarketing. It's not in person sales. It's over the phone. So it's kind of a telemarketing situation. And I was a high volume telemarketer selling to car dealers before there was computers on our desk. And we had a box full of papers that all had mustard and ketchup on it. You know, you go grab a big handful of papers out of the box, and you'd sit down and you'd call through these papers, and there'd be chicken scratch notes on the paper.
Yep.
And I could make 150, 200 phone calls that way. And then when we got our CRM, my phone call volume started dropping, and I was one of those guys who really resisted the CRM because I was a high call volume type salesperson,
right?
And I didn't want to be slowed down by it. So I really have gone through the entire spectrum of, you know, all the cool features in the CRM. Yeah, there are some cool features, but at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is take a customer that is interested in a car and get them to come into the dealership. And we've complicated that to email templates and pricing and all this other stuff. So what Tacoby's really done is, how do we take the lead follow-up process of getting the person into the store and make that easier? And that's how we've been successful with Facebook leads, is because our clients that are raving fans, which we have a lot of them. We have a lot of people out there that are raving fans. And there's people that don't like us, and there's multiple reasons for that. But our raving fans have been with us and followed the process long enough that their ROI and their cost per car sold is ridiculously low,
right?
Because they have leads from a year ago that they're following up with right now without having 500 people in that BDC.
Well, right. I mean, that's the difference, isn't it? I mean, it's like that residual forward flow of customers that most dealers they can't from the sheer volume. They can't follow up past 45 days or 30 days or whatever. And I mean, that's really key, is it not? I mean, you know, duh.
Yeah, I would say in reality, you're lucky if you're following up longer than 7 days.
Yeah.
And in some cases,
and
in some cases, if the customer doesn't answer the phone call, the first phone call,
right,
your sales guy, and you might think you're following up, but your sales team's faking it. They're just buttons and they're faking it.
Right, they're completing a task in the CRM to go on to the next one, basically.
Yeah, they're just being salespeople. I mean, I'm a salesperson too. If I had 100 people, I'm going to call the 5 people that I think are going to buy.
Of course.
And the other 95, I'm going to decide to go smoke a cigarette or do something else.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
So they're just being salespeople. I mean, that's just the nature of a salesperson. I don't think we're ever going to change
left a
that about
voicemail.
Yeah. Well, and that's where texting, I mean, there's no other way to do it in that mass other than text, right? I mean, there really isn't. I mean, obviously, email.
We used to use email, but email is very, very hard to get in the inboxes these days. And if you do it in any sizable form, it's going to start getting spam. So
I know.
You really just can't use email as effectively. Plus, no one's checking their email anymore. So it's just email's kind of lost its effectiveness over the past decade.
Yeah,
I know. So the new decade is messaging.
Yeah.
That's how you automate the follow-up, is messaging in the new decade. That's what people are checking. And that's what they want to do.
All right. When you say messaging, what are you including in that? Other than text, what are you including?
Any form of messaging. I mean, whether it be, everyone's wanting to use Messenger, text message.
Yeah.
They don't want to pick up the phone and talk anymore.
Right.
And
I'm no different. Where do you stand on that as a person? What when you get phone calls, how do you handle that? You personally, from people trying to pitch you?
I could not stand phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm a telemarketer. I mean, I used to beat the whip. I used to beat the whip on people. I had 100 people on my floor, and I'd literally have a whip and walk around that room telling them to stay on the phone. I'm a phone guy.
Right.
And over the past 3 years, my eyes have opened. And the biggest reason I don't like phone calls is because as I can multitask more when I'm not on the phone. I can have 5, 6, 7, 8,
That's
100
true.
conversations at one time
Right.
when I'm not on the phone. If I have to take a phone call, I got to stop all those other conversations and then focus on that person that I'm talking on the phone.
Do we still
And
have? I'm sorry. Do we still have the goal though of getting them on the phone to, quote unquote, get them in, or can that? We don't need that.
My opinion on that has actually shifted over the past year and a half. The first year and a half of Tacoby, I thought, let's get them on the phone, because I was a telemarketer. That's what I was used to.
Right.
I was good at pitching people on the phone. I thought that the show rate and everything would be better on the phone. But my opinion of that has shifted over the past year and a half and the reason it shifted is because we now have massive amounts of data. So we have a very large amount of data that I can analyze on show rates that are set over the phone versus text message.
Okay.
And the numbers are very equal when it comes to text message versus phone call on the show rates. And in many cases, it just depends on the account and if they're using gifts and creating relationships and, doing text message the right way, the show rate is even higher. We have an internal BDC here where they'll do full BDC for the client.
Right.
And one of our BDC reps is at a 90% show rate, and the majority of his appointments are set over text message. And it's by using gifts and building you can build a relationship with someone without being on the phone.
Right.
And you can do that the same way we do it on Facebook, using emojis and gifs and LOL and doing the same type of communication that we build relationships. So my opinion of that has shifted over the past year and a half because my BDC reps can only make 100 calls a day.
Right.
But they can communicate with thousands of people per day over text message and be more efficient when it comes to text message. So with the efficiency that text message brings, I would say text message is the best way to set the appointment because you can be efficient. And if you build the relationship properly while you're texting, you can also have the same show rate or even a higher show rate.
Right. Yeah, and texting is, even for a really old guy like Chris Walsh, who's sitting across from me, it's like even for old guys like him, like really old guys, it's still a great way. It's an easier, more efficient way to communicate. I mean, it's just quicker, and I'm sure you know the stats, but I mean, you're gonna see the text, obviously, and you're going to respond or not respond or tell them to go, pound salt. But with a phone call, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't answer 10% of my phone. If your name's not in my phone, it ain't getting answered.
If and when the phone call occurs between a salesperson and a prospective customer, it's going to be the customer's choice of when that occurs.
Right.
And if you have created with that customer a comfortable feeling, as Jason just said, by using every tool available to you within the realm of texting, then that from a cultural perspective, we don't want to be face to face. We don't want to talk on the phone anymore.
Right.
We want to text.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
So when that customer feels comfortable enough with that individual from the dealership, then they're going to make the decision that they want to up the personal interaction on the way to physically getting to that dealership.
Right. Well, what's interesting is, too, the way Tacoby does it.
If they make that choice at all, because I would say it's probably less than 1% of the conversations that we work with even want a phone call, period. So there are still the older generation that would rather call, but and people will use that as their argument. The older guys who are so used to their way of doing business, they're going to say, oh, well, there's old people who don't want to talk on the phone.
Right.
Well, we're not saying don't make phone calls. We're saying text if you can, and text as long as you can, and communicate the way the customer wants to communicate.
There you
not
go.
The way you want
That's
to
the key.
There you go.
And in most cases, I'd say it's less than 1% that a customer actually wants a phone call.
Right.
They will set an appointment. You'll send them the vehicle. You can send them all the details. You can get their credit. You can do everything that you need to do without ever picking up the phone.
Right.
And in the dealership's world, it's less efficient to pick up the phone. So if the customer doesn't want to pick up the phone, let's not pick up the phone, because one BDC person can communicate with 40 or 50 people at one time instead of talking on the phone with one person at a time.
And that enables you to pick up those people going forward, where where you can actually do the buy or die thing, like, you know, it's been around for 60 years, where the customer, I mean, you really can follow them up till they buy or die. I mean, literally.
Yeah, in my direct mail days, we had that was part of our pitch at DLS. Was I had a BDC, which was a phone BDC, because it wasn't really texting back then. And, you know, our real, you know, value proposition there was buy or die. I would make my BDC follow up with those leads for 90 days versus the dealer following up with them for 5 to 7 days.
Right, exactly.
So now, instead of 90 days, we can do a follow up that's, you know, indefinitely. Like, we have leads from the first month of ever generating a lead that we are still communicating with to this day.
What's next? I mean, texting, I mean, it's strong, it's powerful, it's obviously very, very effective. But what's next? I mean, there's got to be. Are you looking at that? Where else do we go next? How are we going to communicate with a massive amount of potential buyers or people that have interest? What's next? I mean, what do you think, Jason? Where are we going?
I think commenting on Facebook posts is going to, and social media posts is going to be, and we're working on some stuff right now where we can comment in the same type of environment back and forth with customers without having to go to Facebook or go to Instagram or go to the social network.
Really?
But I think commenting in an open environment is going to be important over the next few years. The direct communication, I don't know what's going to be next after text. It's going to take some you know, technology advancements where we start getting implants in our brain, or, you know,
I talk about that all the time, dude.
We're just migrating towards wanting to do less to accomplish more. That's what we want to do as a society. We all want to do less to accomplish more.
Right.
And, you know, a phone call can drag on for 20 minutes. A text message, you're done in 2 seconds.
Right.
You move to the next conversation.
Right.
So other than stripping away the peripherals, because you have to go through your eyeballs in order to read a text message, I don't know what would be. I think there's probably going to be a lot of artificial intelligence helping you communicate, so that, you know, if your phone knows you're going to be at a location at a certain time and someone text messages you says when you're going to be here, your phone will automatically say, oh, it looks like I'm going to be there at about 5:50, and eliminating a lot. And we do a lot of that in our system, where the system's picking up things that it already knows how to respond to. So, because what we've built is called hybrid intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence, because I don't think people want to communicate with robots. They don't feel comfortable communicating with artificial intelligence. I don't. Most of the people I know don't.
Right.
You feel like you're limited on what you can ask it.
Right.
So when I built tKillHimself, I built it around hybrid intelligence, where if the robot can answer, it answers. If the robot can't answer, then it goes to a person or people in that matter. It doesn't just go to one person, it goes to the next person that's available to answer.
Right.
So like in one thread with a customer, it could be a robot and 15 people, and those 15 people could be 5 people on my team and 10 people at the dealership that have communicated with this customer. And the customer has no idea that there's all of that going on in the background. They just think that think that it's one person they're communicating with. So I think using technology to eliminate how much of that text we have to actually type out is going to kind of be the next step in our evolution of communicating more efficiently.
Yeah, well, I know firsthand with with AutoMax recruiting, and with recruiting, it's a matter of, I mean, it's really a matter of volume. You know, we have to get a quantity of quality applicants to our dealer clients, and texting changed everything for us in the last 14, 15 months, where we changed our CRM and this and that, and we're using texting a lot, and it's game changer. It has really accelerated our ability to provide dealers with a lot more talent to choose from. Let me ask you this for the entrepreneurs out here, just to switch gears for you, and I'll let you go. I know how freaking busy you are, and I appreciate this, but so. And I forget the numbers, and I guess it don't matter. But I mean, from your past, I mean, you're cruising along at like stupid numbers. I don't know, 5, 6, 700,000 a year or whatever the heck you were making, doing what you were doing. Which, I mean, that's obviously the upper 1% in the world, upper 1% in the country. But why did you take the leap? I mean, what makes a guy like you walk away from $500,000 a year or more? And I think it was more. I think you've mentioned. I mean, it was close to $1 million a year you were making.
The first business was 776. It was 2008. I made 776 the previous year, and I was on pace to make the same thing in 2008 when I left,
right,
or more.
So what's wrong with you, man? Are you? That's insanity. Why would you walk away from something like that and take a shot?
I'd like to say there's some fancy answer to that, but in all reality, back then I was a hot-headed, kid from a poor family that was making more money than he'd ever made, and I thought I owned the world.
Right.
And it was probably a stupid decision at that point in time. I know it was a stupid decision because I left a lot of people that relied on me and depended on me, and it didn't end well for that company after about 2 years of me leaving, and I shouldn't have left them in that position.
Right.
That was my first leap. I'd like to say it was something more admirable, but it wasn't. It was. I was a tyrant running a telemarketing room, and had never, ran a business in my life, but I'd grown to the point where I was the general manager of this company, and they wanted to bring someone in to help me with my charisma. And I took it personally, and I took off my hublot. I took off my hublot that I'd been given by the company and threw it on the owner's desk and said, "I'm out of here."
Strong move.
And walked out. I had a house. I'd already put a down payment on a house with my ex-wife. It was a $700 and something thousand house, and we had to put 10% down, so they had about 70 something grand. And I was in my 1 week cooling off period of buying a house, because in California, I don't know how the rules are everywhere else, but California, when you buy a house, you make your deposit, and then after you make your deposit, you have 1 week to say, okay, I don't want to do this. And I was in that 1 week cooling off period, so I went and pulled that 70 grand, and that's how I started my first business. Was with that $70,000, and it was probably not the best decision in the world. I mean, looking back, it was a great learning experience, because I learned the hard way exactly who your friends are, and who you think your friends are, and found myself pretty lonely once I'd walked away, because all the people that I worked with, I thought they were my friends, and then when I left, they're like, "Oh my God, this money's up for grabs." And, they all wanted that money now, so. They definitely weren't talking to Jason anymore, and I did pretty well. It was Alligator Auto Finance, and I made a deal with road loans back in the road loans days, and I built a software. It was the first time I'd ever built my own software, and I had my buddy Ryan helping me build this software. And we made a deal with Road Loans where we could submit the customer's information, because Road Loans was a direct lender, so they would send the approval directly to the customer.
Gotcha.
And we made a software that the dealer could send the information, and then we would stop the information from going back to the customer, and the dealer could use the approval the way they wanted to use it.
Right.
And we signed up I don't know. I remember 1 month we signed up about 60 stores in 1 month, and it was like my sisters and my dad and my friends from Imperial Beach working for them. Like, no one knew anything about the car business. It was just the subprime banks had dried up, and we were kind of the only place that you were going to get a subprime loan bought. and I was sending fax blasts out to dealers with our rate sheets, and they were just calling. The phones were like blowing up, like just like you'd hang up the phone and it would be ringing again with another dealer wanting to sign up.
What is that? What is that? 15 years ago or what? When was that?
2008. So
yeah, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah,
12 years ago.
Yeah. And so that crashed.
So,
that crashed and burned, and then you right?
Yeah. So what happened was the Drive came in and bought road loans, and Drive didn't like the deal that we had with road loans, so they turned us off, and it just destroyed the company and killed us. And then I got sent back to the drawing board, and I was in a pretty low state in life at that point. I thought, oh man, I jumped out, I made a leap, and I did it, and then all of a sudden you get punched in the teeth. Yep. It was something you didn't expect. I mean, it was a hard punch in the teeth. I think I felt like every tooth in my head got knocked out.
I get it.
And I spent about 6 months. At home. I'd had, I still had my jewelry. I had some cars that were paid off, and things that I was selling to get by.
Right.
Spent about 6 months. Grew a beard. Was in my boxers all day, and my ex-wife, she rides horses, and she started a Facebook page for her barrel racing, and she gave away some free spurs on her Facebook page to get people to like the Facebook page, and it did really well. She got a ton of likes on her Facebook page. It grew really fast, and I was like, whoa.
Huh.
And I wasn't even using Facebook at this time. This was probably early 2009. And I wasn't really even using Facebook at the time. And I said, what are dealers doing on Facebook? And, that's where I got the idea of trying to help dealers sell cars on Facebook. Is I sent a fax blast out. Don't fax blast. If you're listening to this, do not fax blast. It's illegal. You don't want to get in trouble. Don't do it. But back then you could get away with it.
Yeah. That fueled AutoMax, man. We did that all the time. It was unbelievable.
Fax blast. Don't do it now, though, because you will get sued. But,
that's right.
I sent a fax blast out for my house. I paid a couple $100 to have some company send a one-page fax blast. I'll manage your Facebook page. And my phone, it wasn't like, hey, we're the only subprime lender, but I did get a lot of phone calls from dealers saying, hey, I need to manage my Facebook page. I need someone to help me manage my Facebook page. And at that point, I was like, okay, I got something here. And I started selling them, and my wife was managing the Facebook page. We were charging like $2.95 a month to post, stupid cats and dogs on their page to keep people engaged.
Hang in there, baby.
And then it got to the point where we couldn't handle it anymore, so I went back to the owner of the company that I walked away from. And at this point, he had this big office that was empty because, it didn't work out after I left. And he had all this space and furniture and cubicles and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, you want to be a partner in this? And I got scared, because instead of trying to run my own business like I wanted to do originally, I was like, okay, let me try and partner. And I went into the partnership world for the next two companies. So I partnered with him on Social Ups. We did pretty good at that. Got to about 500 dealers using Social Ups. We did a gaming application. Got lots of fans to car dealer Facebook pages. Just like most partnerships, just got to a point where we didn't agree on something, and decided, hey, this just isn't going to work out, and found another company to partner with. So I partnered with Moore and Scary, and that's what moved us to Denver on another Facebook application that I thought was going to be the next thing, and it was a company called Spark. And moved out to Denver, moved my whole family, put everything we could fit in a U-Haul, walked away from that job. I was making good money again at Social Ups. I mean, I was probably back up to 20, 30 grand a month. So I was comfortable. I had nice cars, and moved to Denver and, said, hey, we're going to chase the dream. Scarlett trusted me to make that leap, and moved out here, and it wasn't nearly what I thought it was. This was about 5 years ago now, and we lost everything. I mean, we lost the cars, all got repossessed. Every single car we had got repossessed that year, and had a really rough next 2 years with a really bad partnership. The first one wasn't a bad partnership; we just disagreed on something, but we got along, and it wasn't abusive. The second partnership was just really bad. Me and the owner just did not get along. Of More and Scary at the time, and we just did not get along. We butted heads. It was constant battling back and forth, and it was 2 years of complete misery in a partnership. And then when we started Tacobi, it was either I'm going to go back to work for someone, or I'm going to start my own business, and we're going to make the leap. No more partnership. We're either going to make it happen or not. So it's kind of my journey to entrepreneurship, and it looks like this time we're going to make it. So.
Well, yeah, yeah. It looks like that's probably trending in that direction, dude. What? Hey, it's just something I've always been curious about. Ones and zeros. I mean, like, how did you learn coding? I mean, where did that ability come from, or interest? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, did you go to college? You didn't go to college, did you, or did you?
No, I'm a 10th grade dropout.
Yeah.
I went in the military. I didn't do well in the military. I got in trouble for selling drugs.
Yeah, go figure. Yeah, I can't see you in the military, dude.
Yeah, I loved shooting guns, and I loved my job. I just didn't like people telling me what to do all day.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
And the money I made. I mean, I couldn't.
Right.
I'm a salesperson, and I felt like I was just broke all the time.
Right. So learn to code. Where did that come from? How did that come about?
So I've always been sold technology because I came up during the digital boom.
Right.
As a salesman, I've always sold technology, especially in the car business. Everything I've ever sold to dealers is ad tech. So it's advertising technology.
Right.
That's what I've always sold. So when I left the first company that I was making ridiculous money at, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to program, because I'd always work with the developers because I wanted to put stuff in there that was easy for me to sell. So I'd work with them and say, hey, if it had this button, I could pitch the dealer this way, or if it did this, I could pitch the dealer this way. I always wanted to customize the software around what was going to be easier for me to sell, because unlike Grant Cardone, I don't claim to be some excellent salesperson. I claim to be a person who has things that people want. If you ever get a pitch from me, I'm not pushy. I don't ask for the sell. I simply show you what I have, and what I have is going to be something you want. And if you don't buy it, instead of me working on my pitch, I work on my product, and I say, okay, well, that dealer didn't seem interested in it. So what if I change around what it is that I'm presenting to them, and I add more features, or change this feature or change that feature, and I keep changing the features to fit what it is that the client wants.
Right. Well, you're in a position, too, where you got a guy like Dan Webb that's probably one of the top, I don't know, whatever, salesmen in the country. I mean, this guy could literally sell, ice to Eskimos, the whole 9 yards, right? I mean, he's got
a very similar selling style to me, or believe it or not. He's probably more aggressive on the close than I am.
Yeah.
But he is a very educational salesperson, and he sells from a standpoint of he uses the software himself to sell.
Yeah.
So it's not hard for him to sell something that he 100% believes in.
Right. Sure.
So what happened was I left that company. I was like, oh, I don't have any software to sell. I'm like, all I got is direct mail. Like, I can just sell a mailer, but there's no IVR. There's no way to look at your leads, because this was before CRMs. I mean, dealers didn't have CRMs. So there was really no software to it. So that's when I built the finance software. And my buddy Ryan, so it's kind of interesting because Ryan, me and him met in a factory working with our dads. So we both worked at the night shift, and my dad was the manager of the night shift, and I worked a machine, and he worked a different machine. And I finally got tired of that and went and found a sales job and started making ridiculous money. And I'd come back to see my dad at night, and he kept seeing my cars get nicer, my clothes get nicer. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm selling to car dealers." And he was actually a salesperson for me, selling the loan by phone hotlines, or actually a salesperson sitting next to me, my one of my peers. And I got him a job there, and he always was like, "Hey, I want to go to we called it Credit Web, because it was like a credit application online, because dealers didn't have websites for that stuff yet." And he was like, hey, I want to go back and work in the credit web department and make these websites that dealers and the management would never let him go back there because he was a salesperson. You know how it is. They don't want to lose their salespeople.
Right.
And he finally just left and was like, I'm going to get a job. And he went and worked for a website company making websites. And the whole time I'm selling and selling and selling. So when I left the company, I called Ryan. I was like, hey, Ryan, you know how to make websites. Teach me how to make websites. So he started showing me everything he knew. I started Googling. I started figuring it out. And just slowly over time, I mean, me and him are best friends. We're like brothers. We communicate very frequently every single day. And over time, over the past decade or so, I've just gotten to the point to where I know how to make just about anything I want. I don't have to do that anymore because now Ryan works full time as our CTO.
Oh.
And we now have another developer. So it's been about a year. I haven't had to really. I'm kind of the product manager at this point.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
I'm relaying from the sales side. What do we want? How do we want it? Okay, put the button here. Make the button do this. We need to change this. We need to change that.
Right.
And the beauty is I know how long it takes to do those things. Where these companies in the automotive space end up in trouble.
Right.
Is the CEOs, the managers, the people who want things done are getting fed a bunch of bullshit by developers. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't know your developers on a personal level, if you don't understand what it is that they're doing, they're laughing at your ass right now because they're going to build stuff to keep themselves in a secure job or not have to work so hard, just like anyone else. I mean, they don't want to have to work hard. So we just have a much different environment. My team knows that I'm always going to have work for them. They know that I know what they're doing. They're not trying to pull wool over my eyes. They're not trying to, do things because I'm very well versed in what it is that they're doing. So coding has been self-taught. I mean, if anyone wants to learn how to write software, it's free information. It's really trial and error. You start with a goal. You Google, say, how do I do that? ABC.
Right.
You read the documentation. You try it. You're going to get an error. You Google that error. You see what people are saying, how they got through that error. You get to the next error. And that's what it's about in software development is getting over an error means that you're going to get to the next error. So you just go from error to error until one day you look up and you can build anything.
All right. Learning through failure. That's interesting. Yeah. Does Scarlett code or no?
No, she doesn't know much about. I had to fix her computer last night. She had something wrong with her email, but she's not a coder. She is very proficient on a computer.
Right.
But she is not a coder. I remember, and honestly, 3 years ago, I was nowhere where I'm at today.
Right.
I was probably 40% of my capability today. I've learned a lot over the past 3 years. I've gotten very proficient. But 3 years ago when I started Jacoby, and it was like, okay, what am I going to build? Okay, we're going to build a texting app. Ryan had helped me build like 4 other companies. And it was like, he was doing it a lot of times just helping me as a friend. And, okay, this is going to be big. We're going to be rich. We're going to sell it. And it was just projects for us that we were doing. So when we started Jacoby, it was kind of like, okay, Jason, I'll help you again. Like he wasn't at the level of help that he was at the previous company. So I remember staring at my computer like, how in the hell am I going to do this? Like, what do I do? And just the force of necessity. Like I say it all the time, you don't know exactly what you can do until you're forced to do it.
Well, yeah, you've lived that life so far, dude. That's a fact.
Yep. It's the same thing as like if you see your mom trapped underneath a big giant tree that fell over, you're going to be able to lift more weight than you ever thought you could possibly lift trying to get your mom out from underneath that tree.
Motivation through adrenaline. Yeah.
Adrenaline is definitely a driving factor that, like, people are like, okay, I'll buy the car when I get here and I get there.
Right.
You're wasting all that adrenaline. Like you buy the car right now, your adrenaline is going to be on overload for the first 30 days because you have 45 days to make the first payment. And if you bought it, and if you're stretching your budget and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can make that first payment. For that 45 days, your adrenaline is at its highest peak. You're coming into work. It takes adrenaline to be focused. It takes adrenaline to push hard. It takes adrenaline. Like when I pitch, I get sweaty, and it's always because every time I've ever pitched, it's because I had that adrenaline going. I had bought a car that I couldn't afford yet, or I bought a house that I couldn't afford yet, or I bought something that I couldn't afford yet, and it was that adrenaline that really pushed me to be on my game. To when a dealer hit me with an objection, I had to rebuttal right away, and you can't recreate that. People think I'm going to work as hard as I can. It doesn't work that way. Your adrenaline, you got to force it out of you. And I think a lot of people miss that when they try and get to Dan's level or my level or a very high level. They're not pushing that adrenaline. Because I bet you 100% that someone like Grant Cardone makes decisions to this day that could be detrimental to his business, that could close down his business if he didn't make it happen.
Right.
Because he has that adrenaline. Like,
right.
You have to get that adrenaline going. It's probably one of the biggest factors in great achievement. Whether you're trying to learn how to code, whether you're trying to learn how to sell on a phone, whether you're trying to whatever it is you're trying to do. If you really want to know how much you can do, give yourself no other option.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's good advice for an entrepreneur. So, anything you want to disclose here? What's coming up? Anything that no one else knows you want to make public? Where's tKobe going? What's our next goal? Aside from additional revenue or increased revenue, what's next?
So in 2020, we're really focused on putting the CRMs out of business and changing that playing field. That's going to be our primary focus, is taking tKobe, and I don't want to call it a CRM because CRMs,
right?
I mean, it is a CRM right now, but I don't want to call it that because they're so like old way of thinking. Like the way that we do stuff inside of our system is just much different. I don't know what to call it. We are doing 2.0 right now, which is a complete re-layout of the site so that we can have the space to put extra features, because we kind of ran out of space in our current layout of the software. So we're redesigning it. We have a front-end developer that came from a company called Full Contact. Full Contact is a pretty large software company that does contact management and data enrichment for contacts. He was there 10 years and one of their first software developers, and he's just amazing. And he's really bringing a higher level, because I'm self-taught and I'm also, I've been back and forth. I didn't get a focus on software development. So he's just bringing a much higher level of quality to what it is that we're doing, and we're focused on that, making it easier to work leads and follow up with them and manage leads for car dealerships, and that's kind of our focus in 2020.
Well, I'm excited to watch your path and watch the journey, and you're an interesting guy, man. A great company, and I mean, we appreciate your being a friend of the program here, and the bazillion dollars you pay us for these.
We don't pay much. You guys should advertise with them. They're great people. So if you're a vendor out there, send Craig some money so he can mention your name on his podcast.
That's right, man. I appreciate you. Hey, listen, anytime. And when you and Scarlett are out this way, man, just would love to have you in studio. It'd be a blast. Spend 2, 3, 4 hours with you guys. So, if that ever is possible, always welcome.
We are getting some more time on our hands. So it might be possible. We are getting to the point where our team is dialed in. We've got everyone in each department. We're close, so we might be out that way soon.
Love to have you, man. And love the shot this morning, the shout out with the stack in your hand, the watch, and the rolls in the background. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's the car business. I don't think these local people in Castle Rock understand.
Probably not. But I don't know. I get, I don't. You're going to piss off a certain amount of people, but for me, I don't know. I think it's hilarious. I think it's awesome. So.
Yeah, I want the people surrounding me that want money, wealth, to increase their status in the world. Like, that's the people I want surrounding me.
Yeah.
All the other people who don't want that, I don't care what their opinions are.
Right.
I use them as entertainment, just so everyone knows the haters don't get me down. I'm not at home like crying about haters. Like,
Right.
I really don't do anything other than how can I get likes and entertainment out of this person right now.
Exactly. Well, you do it. I tell you what, one of the most effective things you do, and I'll tell you what, I think Webb or somebody said it when it was happening. You started maybe, I don't know, a year ago or whatever. You put a post, and you do it every once in a while. You put a post of, okay, something along the lines of, okay, what dealership do you work at? What's your position or whatever, right? And you'd get like 400 people, post. And and selfishly, it was like it was like being at a Chamber of Commerce meeting and passing out business cards. I just go ahead and friend about 200 of those people. It's like, okay, Jason, thank you very much for just increasing my customer base. It was freaking awesome, dude.
It's all about community, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, and it's hard in this business. If we have a little time, I do want to talk about it a little bit. It's hard in this business because there are so many people that, like, let's face it, guys, the car business is not where people with higher levels of education come. Like, you don't go get a master's degree and go into the car business in most cases.
Right.
Where people that have had drug problems, where people that, it accepts everyone. It accepts everyone from all walks of life. And I've always said this before is that's the best part about the car business, but it's also the worst part about the car business because there's a lot of people out there that just have not left that life, and they are either still using the drugs or they're still filled with hate and anger and all the different things that exist in that lifestyle. So it's all about community. I think more and more people in the car business, there's just a lot of talking behind people's backs, and it's needless in the majority of situations. So I've personally removed pretty much all the vendors from you and a handful of others are still on my friends list, but we don't have to do that, guys. We're better than that.
Yep.
We can all get along. We can all work together. We can collaborate. Someone else's success doesn't mean you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And I think there needs to be more of that in the car business, more of the lifting each other up instead of talking about each other at events. Because I've heard some pretty nasty things. And I'm not just talking about me, because I've heard nasty things about other people being talked about in this space.
Yep.
All the way down to people talking about other people's skin color, or I mean, just the hateful, mean things that exist, and we got to do better than that. So anyone listening to this, if you're going to talk negatively about someone, sit back and think, what is that helping? Is it really helping anything?
No.
Like, you don't need to warn the dealership about the vendor. Go talk to, if you think that the vendor isn't doing what they should be doing to help the dealer, call the vendor and say, hey, this is what I think you could do better.
There you go.
This is what I noticed that a dealer failed because of this. Don't go try and warn the dealer about the vendor, because I'm going to tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, warning the dealer about the vendor is simply you trying to get that dealer's business.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all know it. The dealer knows it. You're not doing any good.
Low class.
I try not to discuss other vendors with dealerships at all, unless it's the Coxes. I'm always going after the giant. Yeah. And I really don't attack them and what they're doing either. I mean, I just try not to discuss, other vendors and what they're doing. I wish them all the best of luck, and I don't need to warn the dealer. These guys aren't babies. They don't need to be warned. Right. They know what they're doing. Think about that, guys. As an industry and vendors, we have to come together. We have to work together, and all grow this industry.
I agree,
I'm not
man.
going anywhere. Yep. So if you don't like me, even if Tacoby fails, I'm going to start another company, and you're going to hate me for that other company too. So I'm not going anywhere. There's no reason for anyone to talk shit about me, because I'm not leaving the car business. The only way I'm leaving this car business is when I'm 6 feet under the ground.
Oh, boy. So let me wind up with this. Do you think Epstein killed himself?
Epstein did not kill himself.
There you go.
100% did not. Well, I'll say this: if he did, it was meant for him to kill himself.
Right, with a gun to his head. Yeah.
Yeah, or they gave him the ability.
They gave him the tools.
Right.
They gave him the tools.
All right. All right. I'm on board. All right, pal. Listen, dude. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you.
Great stuff, Jason.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was awesome podcast stuff, pal. I really appreciate you.
All right, guys, rock and roll. Appreciate what you guys do.
All right. Have a big 2020 is going to be huge for you. All the luck, all the best wishes in the world, man. If we can help you, obviously, in any way, we are there for you.
All right, crush it, guys.
All right. See ya. That was awesome.
What an inspiration.
Thank you. That was pretty cool. Thank you very much, Jason.
You know, everybody talks about disruptors in our industry in a in a macro sense.
Yeah.
You know, the Carvanas and blah blah
Right.
blah. And here's a disruptor. You know,
No doubt.
Going after. He's going after the way CRMs are being foisted upon dealers and dealership employees.
Right. We've become dependent on it. It is an addiction, a dependence on CRMs in dealerships, which has screwed things up because it's a matter of task. It sets up the salesperson or whomever to lie.
For failure or to lie. Right. And most of them suck.
Yeah.
And how many times have you heard from salespeople that selling a car becomes a disruption to my day because
Right.
I'm supposed to be sitting here doing all
Dude,
this
I can't
extra.
take that up. I have to fill in this
Yeah.
task, man.
And listen, I know that this is probably a really sweeping generalization, but it sure seems like a lot of the CRMs that I've been familiar with, and listen, I'm not an Anthony Alagona, I'm not a Stacy Whitlock Ellison, but you know, I've been around a few of them. They don't seem like they've been designed by anybody that's ever had to take an up and sell a car.
Maybe not. Maybe
You know?
not. Right.
It's like the old joke about factory people, you know? You make all these crazy decisions for your franchise dealers. Go try taking ups to feed your family, asshole.
Right. Yeah. 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 That's right.
Basically.
That's right.
No, I like Jason. He's ballsy. He's fearless.
Yep.
But you know, nobody handed him a thing.
No.
No.
No, and it's interesting, you know, those stories about, you know, a person that fails, succeeds, fails, succeeds, fails, succeeds. They're always, I don't know, that's interesting to me. It really is. And I've, you know, in a
Well, what he said about learning code, you know?
Right.
You get to an
Weird.
error, you Google that error, and solving that error.
learn by failure.
It's basically
Go find another
it's a
error.
roadmap for life.
Right.
Because,
It is, right?
You know.
Yeah.
You know, what did Thomas Edison say? I didn't invent the light bulb.
Right.
Before I invented the light bulb, I figured 10,000 ways not to invent the light bulb.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Mr. Edison, aren't you disturbed by the fact that you failed? Let's see. It took you 10,000 tries. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And his reply, as I read it, was, "Oh no, it was a 999,000 step process, you know, or whatever." Yeah, it's so interesting.
This
That's so
kid's
true.
this kid's mastered that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really awesome. That's very cool. That's good stuff. So if you owned a dealership,
Forget the curveball, Ricky. Throw him the heater. All right, if I owned a dealership.
that's a major league reference there.
Well,
for
you
those
said you
of
were going to
that-
throw me a curveball.
Right. So, seriously. So we have talked about it. So I really am. I really am kind of sick of you know, can't teach old dogs new tricks, and you know, anything from our era. And you know, I'm 3 months older than you, so. So, but
Mom always liked you best.
right, and I was in the car business a little bit before you. So I'm really an old timer. I don't know. I'm not sure I know anybody. I know there are people. I'm not sure. It's becoming less and less. I don't know anybody that's been in the car business as long as I am anymore. It's weird. Very weird.
Most of them have been dragged out feet first.
That's true. And it's weird me being the youngest person in the car business, too. Youngest man in the car business. It's weird. But it does piss me off that men and women our age are in a lot of ways discounted in regard to our knowledge or expertise in an industry that we both. I mean, we love the industry, obviously. So, and I busted your chops when we started off. It's like, yeah, you'd want to run a patriotic dealership with all these vets running around and treat veterans properly when they come in to buy, and all the reasons and all the flag waving, and you'd want to run it this way and that way. And of course, I was saying that all tongue in cheek. But what would Walsh Motor Emporium? Ooh, I kind of like that. What would Walsh Motor Emporium look like, Chris? What kind of people would you surround yourself with, and why? What kind of culture would there be? What kind of environment? Culture's so overword. What would the environment be? It's like, how would the customer really be treated? What would be the end goal, aside from obviously revenue and before tax profit? What would we be after here? What would that son of a gun look like?
Well, I'm gonna take a different tack. This is your 38th episode, and you have probably asked 30 of your guests this question.
Yes, I have.
And I've listened to probably 33 of these.
You got to get a life.
I know. And everybody from Glenn Pash, Mike Davenport, Michelle McLean. I mean, these are heavyweights. These are people that are in dealerships. These are smart individuals.
Let me, guys. A lot of people on here appreciate you. Please share this out, groups, timeline, whatever. Some of this stuff's pretty good, so really would appreciate it, and we'll do something for you in return. Appreciate it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Okay. Don't do that again.
All right. Yeah. When you get older, it's hard to keep.
Everybody has approached or responded to this question, talking about the culture, talking about intangibles.
Right.
And there's really nothing I can add to what some of these really fine individuals have said, because I agree with all of it. So I'm going to take a different tack before we get to culture, and I'm going to talk about the physical footprint of a dealership.
Okay.
Because I believe that is where you start. The first store I ever managed in Hartford, Newman Chevrolet, was it was on a really funky piece of land. It was a funky footprint. It was on a two-tiered hill. So you had your showroom and your general offices upstairs with entranceways, parking lot, used cars upstairs. Downstairs, new entrance for service drive, into service.
Used cars.
The only way to get from upstairs to downstairs was this a 40-step, just a depressing, institutional-looking staircase, tiled with the rubber treads. And there was like a Sunni and Shia culture between sales and fixed ops. Salespeople never had to go downstairs. Combined with this physical challenge is we had a recon guy by the name of Ting Van Lee. God rest his soul. He died a couple years ago. One of the most capable people I've ever met in this business. Ting was from South Vietnam, and during the Vietnam War, he was a mechanic. And he was one of these guys that held helicopters together with baling wire and duct tape. And he was just the most amazing diagnostic guy I've ever seen. Our service manager, advisors, our ATECs deferred to his diagnoses. Everything from sales went through Ting. So you bring him a get ready, lube oil filter, detail for delivery, safety and advise. Everything went to Ting first. Then he was almost like the expediter for our service department.
Right.
So you literally had a case where salespeople, even the studs that were doing 18, 20 cars a month, 25 cars, did not ever have to go to service. There was salespeople that hadn't been in service in a month, didn't know anybody. So one of the first things I did was I asked Mr. Newman, you mind if I spend a little money on a lunch? Because these guys don't know each other. So we actually closed the store for an hour, had it catered, had it done, down in service. And I kind of felt like Coach Herman Boone in Remember the Titans. You will bunk with a member of your team who's a different color.
Right.
Offense will sleep with defense.
Right.
So my ideal dealership, when you start to talk about the footprint, not only for your people, but for your customers. And I call this the Capital Grille footprint. Ever been to a Capital Grille? Almost everyone in the country is the same. You walk in
Capital Grille.
Capital Grille. You walk into Capital Grille, and what do you got on either side of you? You got the dry-aged showcases as
Right.
you walk in.
Right.
You got sides of beef.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You walk in, it's open right to the kitchen.
Right.
So you're sitting down having your $129 Wagyu tomahawk, and you're listening and you're smelling everything coming out of the
Right.
service area,
Right.
kitchen.
Right.
So my ideal dealership would be glass partitions
Yeah.
in between sales and service.
Yeah.
Soundproofed, but you want people to see what's going on with their car. You want your people to all understand that they're part of the same team.
A service walked right from jump.
I would do away with desks. How many times have my very first sales job, 1984, my sales manager, George Gibbings, gives me my desk. He says, "You married?" I said, "No, I'm not married." He said, "You got a girlfriend?" I do. Bring in a picture of her. "You got any animals?" At the time, I had 3 cats. He says, "You got any pictures of your cats?" I said, "Why am I doing this?" He said, "Well, you're going to humanize yourself. So
Right.
when somebody sits down, they're
Why
going to
buy
see your
from me?
girlfriend, blah, blah, blah." Well, how many dealerships have we been in where the salesperson's desks, either on the showroom or in offices, are just a cluttered mess?
Yeah, most.
And
rather.
a lot of personal stuff, maybe
Right.
Cleveland Browns helmet.
Go Browns.
Go
Right.
Browns. Do away with that. Obviously,
Right.
salespeople need a quiet place off the showroom,
Right.
BDC style.
Right.
Showroom, pit groupings.
Pit groupings?
Pit groupings.
What do you mean?
Couches.
Oh.
Okay. Couches. Round tables. What do they say about
Yeah.
desks?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, me
a
against you.
contentious.
Right.
You go to NADA. An example I like to use is Harry Wolfington, Sean's brother. He spends $250,000 on NADA. He's got this beautiful, it's like a restaurant in there. He's got guys cutting smoked turkey and everybody's sitting in leather furniture. And he's signing multi-$1,000 mailer deals because the customers are comfortable.
Right.
So I'd make it very comfortable and clean.
Right.
I was in a dealership a couple of weeks ago. I walk in, you could write your name. You could write Lincoln's second inaugural address on the dust on the hood of the first truck I saw in the showroom.
That's bad.
The music coming through the PA system is 110 decibel hip hop.
Right.
I actually looked at a salesperson trying to sell a husband and wife. They were elderly. The wife has her hands over her ears so she can block out the music. I have to walk through the showroom to get to the receptionist, and I pass 5 or 6 people. I wasn't dressed like a vendor. I wasn't carrying anything because
Right.
a lot of times when I go to a dealership, I'll dress down. I
Right.
don't want to look like a vendor.
Right.
No 5-foot rule. Hell, they didn't even have a 1-foot rule. Walking past people just looking at me like I am an interruption to their CRM duties. Nobody asked, "Can I help you?" Nothing. Where does this all come from? Obviously, it starts with management and ownership.
I guess.
To make everybody feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, I think where a lot of bad morale in our business starts from is salespeople feeling that there is no support, there's no guidance. I am an island unto myself, and if I don't talk to 50 people to sell 25 to deliver 18, I'm not going to be able to make my mortgage payment.
Right. That's true.
Another thing I would do, which lends itself to the culture of teamwork, is
So we want the store to look different.
you want the store to look different.
Physically feel
It's
different.
got to, and I don't care if it's Hyundais or Lexus.
Right.
You
And
know,
it does. We're not
spend
talking
some
about
money.
spending $1 bazillion.
have to.
It's like you take some of it out of the landscaping budget.
Keep it
right?
clean.
Right.
Keep it clean.
Right.
Make your people feel comfortable
Right.
and proud of where
Right.
they're working.
They're there. We're there a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Right. You got to be more like home.
And if you're gonna cut corners on your cleaning service,
Right.
I only need them here on Mondays and Fridays.
Right.
You're really a dope.
Right.
if
Yeah.
that's your
Right.
attitude.
I used to own a bunch of tanning salons, but
I know.
like 1,000,000 years ago, and we were really successful. We'd buy beat up places, paint them, freshen them up, and it was those you could eat off of. I mean, that's a germ factory.
Oh yeah.
Tanning salons, you could eat off of anything. I mean, this place was dazzling clean. And customer after customer after, you know the reason I come here? You're more money. Your beds aren't as good as, this place is like a hospital.
Right.
It's like I feel comfortable here because it's so clean.
Matters.
So, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know when the first time I read about bucket pay plans. But you remember they were probably early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I really got intrigued with the idea. Listen, we're in a business where everybody that's a salesperson or a manager is a cowboy. They want to be rewarded for their own efforts, and that's fine. But you are not that island unto yourself. You are part of something bigger in the success or failure of any dealership.
As a salesperson. Or anybody really.
Starts with the lot kid and goes all the way up to the dealer.
Right, okay, go.
But I've always been a strong proponent of letting your service manager and your service advisors share in the success of your F&I department. Let F&I share in the success of service. Let sales share in the success of fixed ops. And it doesn't have to be heavily weighed within their pay plan. You still want your parts department to survive based on wholesale numbers, based on over-the-counter.
Right.
You want your service manager to eat off his efficiency, off his hours per RO. But for a salesperson to open up his bonus check and see an extra $250 because service increased their hours per from 2.25 to 2.7.
Right.
What did it really cost the dealership?
Right.
And when that guy realizes, or that girl, he's part of something bigger, I think that goes a long way towards making that team understanding a part of the culture.
I couldn't agree more. Pay everyone from the same flippin' dollar. Packs and everything, all the, it's insane. Dealers lose their minds to try to get their payroll to be a certain percentage of their gross, and they make it impossible for themselves.
Yeah.
Make it simple. Create the synergy is what we're talking about here. So everybody's working together. The total being the dealership, greater than the sum of all its individual parts, all the different team members and so forth. Pay everybody from the same dollar. Pay everybody from the same dollar. That totally eliminates that line of demarcation that you just spoke to in a different way, but that between sales service or sales admin or we got BDC smashing heads with sales managers. That's so foolish. It's ridiculous. They fuel each other. They can't survive without each other.
And that's 90% of the dealerships in the country.
Right, and it's based on money, right? Basically, it's all based on a disparity of dollar. So have everybody going in the same direction. Within AutoMax on a smaller scale, last year we started paying bonuses out quarterly to literally all the team members on stuff they had nothing to do with other than they all did their job so well.
Some of the parts.
Right. And so we make more money. So we, here's some more money. For Christmas, we were blessed to be able to give out, substantial, bonuses or whatever you want to call them, incentives. But it's, man, you're so right. Why is that not possible? What is stopping from what you just said from happening? Why is it not possible to pay a lot kid on something that happened in F&I?
Because we've never done it before.
Right. Yeah. I had this conversation with my son Joe yesterday about money and about how to pay people and we were talking about some bonuses and incentives. I said, we got to stop thinking about what we've done in the past. Let's think about something different. Let's just forget everything we're thinking about here and let's think of something different. Let's, because it's important, man. It's important. Because not everybody's motivated the same way, right?
One of the things I used to do, that if Mark Cross is listening, he's going to laugh. And my salespeople used to hate this. I would do monthly bonuses based on each individual salesperson's lifestyles, their likes. Toby Madison was a huge Patriots fan. 1 month, his goal was I'd get him 2 tickets to Foxborough. If
there you go.
Hit his number. Mark and his wife were big antiquers. I got him a bed and breakfast and a trip up to Brimfield.
Right. What does that take? Communicating with your team members.
But here's what they hated. Before I would put the bonuses out, I'd call the wives and girlfriends and tell them what was on the table. for
That's
them.
old school. That doesn't. I don't think that happens anymore, and that's effective.
Sure it is. Yeah.
That happened to me the minute I got married. The store I was at, stuff started going home to my wife. I go, seriously, dude?
I think it's easy just to say, okay, hit your numbers, you get $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And of course, set the number so high that you don't ever have to pay that.
Right.
$1,000. That's
Right.
I've seen so many pay plans on social media and in a lot of the different groups that we're members.
Yeah.
And to digress just a little, what he was saying about the poison in our business.
Right.
I know that you and I are members of a couple of the same groups.
Yeah.
And there's some people out there that I would like to hunt them down and choke them to death. When a new salesperson comes into a Facebook group and says, "Hi, I've only been in the business 3 months.
Yeah.
How can I build my business?"
And he gets killed.
And he gets killed for that.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Guys our age or
That's
guys with
weak
our
shit,
experience, if you're going to be a member of this group, then you have the responsibility of mentorship, guidance, and information. Why don't you get on the phone instead of being on Facebook? Why are you bothering us? Why do you want to destroy this person who's taken a leap of faith in his life to get into the business that we've spent our lives in?
Right.
And all you're doing is showing your true colors as a douche.
That's right.
And so,
That's
like
right.
I said, I did digress a little bit.
Yeah, no, but that's true, and that's important. And some of these groups, thank goodness, have some admins that
shut
handle
them
that
down,
stuff.
yeah.
But you're right, and that's bullshit, man. We should really, we have to help each other. Shit, were we all not rookies at one time?
Yeah.
Let's
So-
help each other.
But to get back to pay plans,
Yeah.
we get to see so many.
Yeah,
and
we
there's
do.
there's some really strong pay plans out
Right,
there.
and some are interesting. They're creative.
Yep.
What do you think about? Wouldn't it make a certain amount of sense to sit down with a team member? Not initially, but after we have some sort of relationship with them, we know the person and so forth, and have them assist us in making up their own bonus plan or pay plan. Because they know better than anyone else what motivates them, right?
Correct.
Why should I, if you're into whatever, why should I pay you in such a way that has nothing to do with what actually, gets you cranked up? It's silly. It's stupid.
Or more to that point, what's one of the reasons that a lot of managers don't want to hire women in our business?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there's a lot.
the hours.
Yeah.
Oh, you got 2 kids? You'll never be here.
Right.
How badly do you have to be cutting your nose off to spite your
I've
face?
I've asked women, younger women in job interviews 30 years ago, so what are your plans on having more children? It's like, wow. It was probably even illegal then.
Yeah, it probably was.
But it's like, wow.
She looks at you and says, "Why? What do you got in mind?"
Yeah.
But if time off motivates somebody,
Right.
and the whole art and science of goal setting or helping your salespeople set goals. How many times do salespeople come up to you at the beginning of the month? All right, correct. I'm going to do 15.
Right.
No, you're not.
Right.
No,
Right.
you've never done 15.
Right.
You are a comfortable 12-car a month guy.
Right.
Or, you're not going to do 15. You're going to do 18. You've been averaging 17.5. You cannot back off on your average production just so you can make your nickel. Ain't happening.
Right.
So you guide your people either way. But if it's important for somebody to have that work-life balance, and again, we're the old guys.
Right.
I used to get a half a day off a week.
You're the old guy, dude.
I'm the old guy. You're the young guy.
Right. Youngest
Half a
man
day
in car
off a
business.
week, and if you took it, you were a pussy.
Right.
You're
Oh yeah, you
doing
get heat
6
for
days
it, man.
bell to bell.
Yeah.
And how much of the disastrous brain drain that our business has suffered has come because of the hours.
Right. Isn't it a fact that the people that there are a certain amount of people that are going to work 60, 65 hours just because?
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Years ago, AutoMax was, we were maybe a year and a half, 2 years in. Probably 2 years in, because I brought on a partner, and we went and visited a Toyota dealership in Morristown. I mean, we opened the showroom door and literally, I'm not kidding you, could feel something different. There was a literal electricity in the air. Long story short, we sit down with the GM and all the I don't forget exact. Forget the exact numbers, but let's say there was 20 salespeople there. I think there was more. There might have been 30. Let's say 30.
Yeah.
Probably 10, 12 of them were female, and it was a very diverse, racially, socially group. And it was so obvious, I brought it, what's happening here, man? What is it all about? No hours, no schedule, zero. I'm talking
Wow.
20 years, almost 20 years ago. No schedule, none, whatever. I said, well, how does that work? They know when to be here.
They know when to be here.
And I got, 15 of them work 60 to 70 hours a week. 15 of them work 30 to 40 hours a week. It just all falls together.
You make them understand what your expectations are as far as production goes, and you'll get there. You've probably heard me tell this story before about Bob Drager, my good friend. He was
Don't tell that story.
outside salesman. He was in the showroom for deliveries and meetings. Who's commenting? Who do we have on? Anybody good?
Jason, Anthony.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, I think that the physicality, the ability to relate to. This isn't a knock. Listen, I was a crappy manager when I first started managing because
Why do you say that?
I was just an ego. I
Oh,
was
yeah. My way,
egotistical
highway.
guy. Yeah, it took me some years to learn. And again, we talk about old guys learning or old guys, sticking in the mud.
Right.
The whole idea of guidance, of work-life balance, of giving someone a place where they are proud to come to, of how many times have you heard salespeople say, my CSI is through the roof. The rest of this store is dragging me down.
Yeah.
I've heard it many times.
Yep.
Guys have left, really good guys that are propping up a store have moved on.
Right.
Because they're tired of the toxic environment, the
Right.
way customers are being treated
Right.
as a general
Right.
philosophy or game plan.
Right.
So all of these things lend themselves to the culture. And as you guys always say, ABR, always be recruiting.
Yep.
Always bring – the good salespeople are always going to do – they're 15, they're 18, they're 24. I don't care how many people are on the floor. I
Yes.
just don't care. If you have 12 people on a floor and you break that into thirds, 4 and 4 and 4, and the 4 at the top, that's your corral. Those are your stud horses.
Right, they crush
the guy in the middle, the guys in the middle, the girls in the middle, they're your bedrock.
Right.
You're always going to get your 10, 12 out of them.
Right. Super important group.
Guys in the bottom are either guys and girls that are cycling into the business.
Right.
And that should be the only reason to do 5, 6, 7 cars a month is you are cycling in.
Yes. Agreed.
Those people is where you churn. Those are the people who you keep an eye towards recruiting. But then again, if you're going to say, all right, I'm doing 120 cars with these 12 people, you're always going to do 120 cars with those 12 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no reason why a 20-car-a-month guy can't do 24 if you provide him with the opportunities.
What do you think about that? Is Scott Klein? Do you know Scott?
Yeah, from
Scott,
Georgia.
Yeah, he's awesome guy, and
Gorgeous wife.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, he's a really good salesman. Or he lied to her a lot. So, but Scott posted something the other. He posts all these abstruse questions on Facebook, and the other day he did one. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Geez, you threw me off when you mentioned his wife.
Sorry.
What were we just talking about? Shit.
Salespeople, bottom tier salespeople. Top tier salespeople.
Yeah. What
Increasing
What
numbers.
is easier? I forget how he posed the question, but it was something like, I think these are my own words. What would be easier, moving let's use the number you just used, a 20-car salesperson to 24, or a 8-car salesperson to 12 or 13? Which would be easier? And it's like I'm sitting there looking at that question, and I'm going. My first thought was, "What difference does it make?" But my second one was like, "Shit, I don't really know the answer to that question. I really don't. I don't know. Is it easier to move somebody to, I guess if the 8-car person is, like you said, just starting into the thing, it's easier to move that person to 13, obviously.
Well, you've got a hunger factor with the lower producers. And you've got a pride factor with the higher producers.
Oh.
The problem with the higher producers is you also have a comfort level. If a guy's doing 240 cars a year,
Right, and making
he's
80,
probably
90
making
or
more,
or 100,
or
right,
more.
right.
If he's smart and he's
Right.
cherry picking all the bonus vehicles,
Right.
he's making $1.25, $1.30, $1.40.
Right. And he's got a $3,000 a month house payment. He's got a car payment, and everything's good. Kids are in good schools.
Pride should dictate that you should be able to increase that guy or gal's productivity by 10 to 15 to 20%. But
If
you are
you tap
fighting
into-
you're fighting the comfort zone.
Right. So you got to tap into her hot button and what's going to move her to the 30 or
Correct.
whatever, right?
Correct. If that individual has been in your store for any appreciable amount of time, and to sell 24 cars a month, they are talking to 35 people,
Right.
I'm going to name a wing on the dealership after that person.
Right.
Whereas the guy doing 8 cars a month who's talking to 50 people, that falls on management. You have got to be able to identify and isolate the reason that this kid is brooming ups. And
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
I know that's fine. At that point, you really listen. Anybody, what's the rule of thumb in our business right now? You talk to 3 people to deliver 1 car,
Well,
or is it higher? Because
I don't know.
we say what's the number that Cox always uses? People are visiting 1.8 dealerships. Blah,
That
blah, blah.
I think is bullshit. So, I don't know how you prove it. I don't know how I prove that it's bullshit. I don't know how they prove that it's not. But I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I don't either.
I'd
Because
like, if I'm sitting there, it's like, okay, well, shit. It's like if somebody comes in, it's like, okay, 50-50. Really? 50-50, I'm going to sell this guy a car? I don't know. Are we at a 50% closing ratio then, I guess? Is that what that means?
it's like Jason was just saying. If I can do everything via text,
Right.
on the dealership's website, on my
Right.
credit union's website,
Right.
and what you and I were talking about the other day, talking about old timers and what we had to do when a guest came into the showroom in 1985 or 1990, the only information, the only thing they knew about that vehicle they were interested in, they got from a brochure.
Right. Yeah.
There was no ability to research a vehicle online, find out. My God, I know this sounds. Even for people that are very astute and familiar with dealership websites,
Yeah.
I'm amazed at what you can do on some of the OEM sites. You want to build out a car.
Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles, the other night I was on the Bentley website.
Yeah.
And you can build out your burled walnut and your
Nice.
leather and the different colors, and it gives you the 360, and it might sound like I'm a hick saying, oh boy, that I'm really impressed by that, but I am impressed by that.
Yeah, why
and
wouldn't
you
you be?
can do the same thing with a Kia Sorento.
Right. Right.
So by the time that individual does get to the dealership,
Yeah.
they have looked at your social media presence. They've been on
They
Yelp,
can. I
Dealer
don't know
Rep.
that they all do, but they can.
Okay, I'm making an assumption.
Right.
But they should have. Consumers are pretty savvy these days.
I guess.
You would hope, unless it's a true get me done or somebody. Our family's bought our last 12 cars from you.
Right.
Therefore, I need to go nowhere else.
Right.
And that's a big part of our business, especially with old
Should
timers
be.
like us.
Should be.
But if you're new to an area, if you don't know the difference between a Kia and a Hyundai and a Nissan and a Toyota, and you can sit on your laptop, build out, price out,
Right.
even before you expose yourself to the local retail environment.
Right.
You don't even have to send anything to the dealerships.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You can get everything you need. Okay, now this is the vehicle I want. Okay?
Right.
CRX LX in silver birch metallic with the third row, blah, 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 cold weather package. Now, the closest dealership to me, let's Yelp them. Let's see what. And Dealerator. I dealt with Dave Mason. He's been there for a while. He's the best salesperson in the world. He really treated me great. Okay. Maybe I called Dave Mason at that dealership because I've read his Google reviews, that individual. So you can drill down vehicle, dealership, salesperson.
Right.
It kind of negates the need to shop as we did when we were younger with our dads on Saturday mornings, or what we were subject to as salespeople.
Right.
And I would say that 80% of all dealerships in this country right now are located within auto parks or auto miles,
Seems like
if
it.
you will. So if I do want to shop, Toyota,
Yes.
Honda, Nissan,
right.
maybe owned by the same DP, maybe not.
Right.
But the other thing that we were saying with Jason is people don't want to be face-to-face anymore culturally. They don't even want to talk on the phone anymore. They want to do everything online.
Right.
It's so easy for a customer to make a decision. So I personally, and I know this is debatable, I believe that by the time that customer does physically set foot into a dealership, it's that dealership's business to lose. You have got to really alienate that customer to make him or her want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we know that's going on.
Yeah.
That's where everything falls apart.
Yeah.
You and I have had this conversation before. So much training has gone into the BDC and the internet, and they've
Yeah.
forgotten about the salespeople.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Who they've really forgotten about is the manager.
yeah.
Really forgot about the manager.
Oh, yeah.
It's that's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Is a lack of training and development for the manager. Being a manager in the automotive industry is got to be, and I don't have a great point of reference into other positions, but got to be one of the hardest jobs in the world, man. You get just
Hammered.
you got buckets of poop all around you all day to step in. It's like
Desking a deal is the last thing
Right.
that you get to do.
going to talk to a customer.
Yeah.
It's like you can go into any group and you're going to see somebody bitching about the manager won't get up from around his desk and come to talk to my customer. Right. That's because their brains are fried.
Yep.
They got 9,000 other things.
Yep.
And, obviously talking to the customer is the most important thing, but
It gets pushed.
crippled, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're absolutely crippled. I remember when I sold, after I left the original dealership I worked at, I went back home. I moved back from Canton. I was newly married, and I had my first daughter, and we moved up, and we moved back into the farm that I grew up in. My mom had, divorce and this and that, taken it over. It was way too much for her, so she needed help. It was it was like 3 homes, and it was like massive. And so I started selling cars at a place called Friedman Buick. It's no longer there. Me and the general manager were literally the only Gentiles up front. It was crazy. It was a great education on how to do business. Max Friedman used to give me a $100 bill. He said, "Go buy me 5 cigars." This is mid-'70s, right? Or late 70s. And it was like, do what? $100 bill? First of all, what is this with 100? And secondly, 5 cigars? They're $20 a piece? So, but that has nothing to do with anything, frankly. But it's a Buick dealership in, is that Mayfield Heights or Lyndhurst? Just short of Gates Mills, where all the bazillionaires live. Very affluent area. So between there, on the far east side of Cleveland, to the west side of Cleveland, there were 12 Buick dealerships.
Whoa.
12 single point
Yeah.
Buick dealerships. So someone would come in.
Not even GMC.
No. Yeah, no trucks. And it was like they'd come in and it's like, they would be, somewhere. They were either east side or west side, but they flat out said, I'm going to go to 6 dealerships. Low price wins.
Yep.
Great. Where were you hoping to be around? X amount of dollars. Great. Go ahead and write that down on the back of my business card. Yeah. All right. Here's my card. You write your number on the back of my business card, and then I'll see you when you're done. So we put them in a position they lowball themselves. They go to the next dealership. Here's what I can get it at Friedman.
This is what he said I could buy
right.
it for.
Oh, that's bullshit. They're liars. You can't buy it for that. Right. So ultimately they'd come back and, well, I'm really to buy it for that. Well, that was your number.
That was your number.
Not my number, man.
Sorry, you've been telling everybody else in town it was my number.
Well, so you lied to me. Look at it however you want to.
Right.
What do you want to do? You want to go through this again? It's like we were close to the Fisher body plant. So a customer come in, we saw a lot of, we call them nines, deuce and a quarters, 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9, so we call them nines. Guy come in and said, I want 9. All right. So we cut white walls in them back in the day.
Yeah.
For those of you that are really young, underneath the black wall tire back in the day, there was a small white strip, but you could actually cut away the rubber, and it was all white behind it. So you could increase the white ring on your white wall tire.
Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the
scene
scene
of the gangster lean. Exactly. So, and we curb feelers. I mean, no shit. And we get the car all dolled up. It'd be sitting up front, just blasting.
Yeah.
Car was lit. So the customer would come. What's my payment? $250. That was just what's my payment going to be? Where do you want it to be? $250.
Customer desires.
They'd come in, whole family, put them in the box. Payment was $400. They start throwing stuff, yelling, screaming. It's like, hey, you know what?
Got you as close to your number as we could.
Yeah, man. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
They take it.
Yeah.
Then we turn them into bird dogs. Hey, anybody send me? It's $250. Next week they'd send somebody in. Do him like you did me. It's like, okay, man. Are you sure? Do you want us to do your friend just the way we did you? It's like, wow. It was great.
Well, when you consider the lack of information that was available to the average consumer,
there was nothing. There was brochures, like you said.
What's my payment going to be? Well, a good rule of thumb, Mr. Customer,
is
$35 per thousand per month.
Right. Oh, great. Thanks for the info.
They believed you.
Of course.
And some of the tactics. I want to be $250 a month. You're $725. $725. Well, all our customers demand shorter terms, and of course that's 36 months. And you start from there. You go to 42. When you started in the business, 36-month financing was the max.
Yeah,
max. When I started, 60 months was just coming around. Right. 72 didn't really raise its head.
60
until the
blew
late
my
80s.
mind. 60 blew my mind. 60-month leases. We used to do 60-month leases on Chevettes.
Through Chase Manhattan.
We did it through GMAC. It was like, oh, God. So when you start, when did you start?
84.
84. So Foursquare was newish, but it was in full.
Yeah.
Yeah?
We were doing the okay deal.
Yeah, okay. You win big. Did you fold up the paper as you went along? And at the end, the last pencil was an option. 60 months at $328.90 or 66 months or whatever at $346.16 fully protected. It's like, I'll take the full. What's the fully protected? Oh, dude, it's got everything. It's got this, and that. It's the way you want to go. 90% of our customers get it. It's the way you want to go. Get into the box. The F&I manager calls you. Said, "Dude, I cannot get to this payment.
Get to the payment,
man. We're gonna have to cut term or something there."
Well, I think I said to you once. I'm doing F&I at a Nissan store, and sales manager brings the deal. These people are lay downs. Did you leave me a leg?
Yeah.
And he said, "There's enough leg in that payment to finance 2 cars."
Right.
It was available to us, but a lot of us didn't take advantage. It was the way we were taught.
Yes.
But I've said this many, many times, some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life are in the car business.
Yeah.
And just because you could, and some of the biggest scumbags too.
Yep.
But they're gone, and we never took advantage of people as badly as, at least I didn't. You know, it was out there, it was available to you, all these smoke and mirrors tricks, but I never really worked at a store that demanded that you just wring every penny.
Yeah, I did. I worked but then when I ended up running stores, I never went that far. I found out I did find myself in a situation where one of my managers came to me to tell me that, hey, we got a problem in our F&I office. What's going on? We got some credit applications going through that aren't legit. Okay, would you speak English? Tell me what's going on. But he had, fake Social Security numbers, dead people, whatever. And they were calling. And it was, it was like, so I had to go to the dealer right away, say, look, here's what's happening. You're going to get screwed. I'm going to get screwed. This guy got to go. And we got to make good on this stuff, man. There's a problem. So, and does that happen still today? Yeah. You still read about it. It's unfortunate, isn't it? I mean, it's crazy. You still got illegal shit going on in the F&I offices still to this day. And dealers are getting caught and they're getting jailed.
And more so even than 10 years ago because front-end profits have...
Right.
Most new car dealers right now, not all, many of them are relying on trunk money, stair-step money to show even a minimal profit in the front end.
I forget how it was broke down, but I read something maybe a month ago that the average numbers per new vehicle sold front end were minus $750 per car.
I believe it. All day.
And I think that was minus the incentive money.
So the pressure on the F&I grow. It's 9:30 at night. Sales manager comes in. Mary,
got to have $4,000 on this
deal,
man.
$2,000 back on this one. They're talking about their credit union, and you're gonna be a hero, honey. Come on, do it. Take one for the team.
Yeah.
And I used to say anybody doing over north of $2,200 a car
Had to be a lie.
Had to be either a lie or they weren't doing it right.
Yep.
I don't necessarily subscribe to that anymore. There are very, very good salespeople in F&I out there that are selling products and services on their merits.
Yeah.
But the temptation to do it the wrong way is born of that pressure from the desk, from the GM. You're only doing $1,600. I heard that the average is $1,850.
Yeah.
Girl's doing 70 hours a week. She hasn't seen her kids in a month. She can take a couple of shortcuts to get a couple of deals.
Yep.
Do I blame her? Okay, maybe it would be sanctimonious to say, well, she should do the right thing and quit and go somewhere else.
Right.
It's not always possible to do. So it's going to continue. As long as dealers, general managers demand numbers over quality. And, it's not my fault that you're whoring out every Altima for a quarter under invoice.
Right.
And then you're going to blame me.
Right.
Because you've trained your people. And again, you go back to the culture of selling.
Yeah.
And Ziegler's a big one on this.
Yeah.
How many people started MSRP in this business?
Right.
And you can say, okay, that's a fool's errand because they know all the numbers. And if you start them at MSRP, they're going to walk on you. Not necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily.
No. People shop at MSRP. It's like, what's the base cost of the vehicle? It's going to be MSRP. So, I don't know.
Let me build enough value in myself, my dealership, and my product that numbers...
Dude, it's still important. You have to have some sort of relationship with the customer. Some customers. So type A personality comes in. What's your best price? I got 10 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not putting him through the steps of the sale.
Right.
It's like, okay, here's our car. Here's your car. Bang. Sign there. You ready? I've done exactly what you told me to do. Yeah. So let's do this. I'll bring the car to your house and deliver it.
And those are the ones that get pissed off and go somewhere else when the salesperson says, I have to take you for a test drive.
Right, yeah.
Because
That's
if I don't,
bullshit.
I'll get fired.
Get rid of that.
You got to get rid of that cookie cutter mentality. I know that there's a lot of people that say you got to follow the process. You have to follow the process. Well, unfortunately, in 2020, customers are defining what the process are.
Right. That is the
Process
process.
is, yeah.
What's your customer want?
You better be able to go right and left.
We just talked with Jason about this on how people want to communicate.
Right.
Okay, how do people want to negotiate? Okay, let's give that a shot. This is the way you want to buy a car? Great, let's do it that way. You know, it's
Well, we talked about test or walk-arounds the other day on the phone.
right.
Are you going to make every customer go through a walk-around because you're
no.
told you have to?
No.
When that individual, if he's an engineer, he probably knows the coefficient of drag of a
Right.
Kia Sorento.
Right, but still might.
But you ask.
Right, because he or she might enjoy a walk
Right.
around.
I'm very passionate about these vehicles, and I
take
feel
a look
that I
at it.
know as much,
Right.
if not more, than any other Kia salesperson in town.
Right. So you have to
Can
have
I-
the ability to be able to do that.
Right. Can I give you the full show? What do you think, honey? You know what? Why not? You're on stage. And not only do you have the ability to show that customer the features and advantages and benefits, but also to get to know your personality, which is going to go a long way towards them signing a purchase order.
That's right. And you still got a chance to put his ass in the trunk of the car and lock it
Yep.
on the showroom floor. So that's always good, too.
And show them how to drop the back seat and let them crawl out the cubbyhole. I sold a Maxima one day because I showed the two little kids the pass-through to the trunk.
Right.
You pop up the back seats.
Right.
And that was the hot button. The
Yeah.
kids were like,
Oh.
Mommy, Daddy, we can ride in the trunk.
Right.
And they're crawling
Secret
around the
passageway.
car back and forth. And I'm like, there's no way these kids are going to let their parents not buy this car.
That's awesome, dude. You're coming back to AutoMax. We're still running Vets Cars.
Yep.
Shout out to vetscars.com.
It's going well. We're adding a couple of the other features. Matter of fact, I'd like to talk to Jason. We're doing. I've invested in some email lists around the country, targeted, demo targeted for active duty military veterans. That's having some real success. But I would like to talk with Jason a little bit more about how to make this even more valuable for our
those.
viewers.
If someone would put, if somebody put that in the comment section, I appreciate it. If you could put vets, VETS, which I've forgotten for years, vetscars.com. If you'd put that in the comment section here, I appreciate it, guys. Take a look at this. Chris is the founder, CEO of the company. He is also going to rejoin AutoMax Recruiting and do some recruiting around the country for dealers and help dealers find management and everything that we do. Other positions in the dealership as well, and I'm really pumped about that. How do you feel about? So how long were? It just came up in my memories the other day, your class actually. But when was that? When did you first start? Was it 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah. I sold Vets Cars in 15
Right.
after my brother died.
Right. When was that?
And,
What year
that
was
was
that?
16.
Okay.
And then I reacquired it last year.
Right. So did you come with us in 16?
Yeah.
Was that recent?
Yeah.
All right. And what'd you do? You hung in there, 6, 9 months, something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think
You got
eight or 9
You got
campaigns.
pissed off about something.
No. I just
Yes, you did. You got pissed off.
I tell you what, though, for anybody in this business, as much of a pain in the ass as travel is, and we've all done it, there is no feel like when you're sitting down. Anthony's talked about this so often. You got somebody either on the end of their rope or working in a dead-end job. Nobody has ever given this person the time of day,
Yep.
much less, and I'll say it again, look into their eyes and see their potential. And you bring that person back for training and you tell that decision maker, this individual has every opportunity to be a stud.
Yeah.
And again, I see Anthony post once a week about this. I just heard from Mario in Cleveland, Ohio, and he did 19 cars.
Right.
That's a phenomenal feeling.
Right. It's unbelievable.
You get to be our age in this business, and to be able to
Your age.
my age, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not your age.
Yep.
And I hate the term give back, but there is a certain mentorship involved, and to be able, and not only for the sales candidates or the management, but also for the existing management at that dealership. There's nothing that's a bigger pain in the ass for a manager. You talk about 10 minutes ago what sales managers, the worst job in in the business right now. How is that individual going to look at 18 applications, interview those people, sit down with the other managers, make a decision by committee, bring 3 or 4 back for the second screening? There is no
And 3 weeks to onboard them.
There is no retention fee that is too much to pay a qualified, capable group of people.
There really isn't.
I'll do it all for you.
Yeah.
And you're helping all the way around.
Yeah.
There's no downside
Right.
to an effective recruiting campaign.
Yeah. There really isn't.
And I missed it. I really did.
I know.
I remember, in everybody that works at AutoMax always laughs about the crier. John Huey, at least once a week. I'm betting I get 2 criers this week.
Yeah, he's disappointed if he doesn't,
If you
which
don't-
is a little sick.
But you know what? What in that person's life would cause them to become that emotional in front of a stranger at a job interview?
Right. It's based on the questions we ask,
And yes, it is.
and that
It
tells
brings
you a lot
out,
of
it
the emotional
elicits
intelligence.
those
See what-
responses.
right.
But that person is either trouble,
Right.
or that person is loaded with potential.
Right. Exactly. No question. No question
You
about
hope
it.
you hope you make the right decision.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really looking forward to
Yeah,
getting
so are
back.
we. It's going to be great. And things have changed, too. Back in the day, for years, we used to charge the applicants we called it a tuition. It was a commitment fee. It was, skin in the game, however you want it to. And in theory, very important. I mean, it's like they're not going to dip their. You charge a new hire $400 that's refundable after 90 days.
Right.
You charge them $400 or whatever the figure might be, because we went all over the board. On a bad day, they're not just saying, screw you, I'm out of here. They're going to stick in to get their money back at the end of 90 days, right?
And at the end of the 90 days, you're hoping that the business is under their skin enough.
Exactly. Right.
And they've made enough money.
Right. It's gotten them. It's into their blood. My dad used, or was it my dad? Someone used to say, the car business is too bad to get into and too good to get out of. And that's kind of true. Now, things have changed, so we totally eliminated that situation, which is it's weird, but so now the dealers fund the whole thing.
Yeah.
So now they have more skin in the game, which
Right,
is
right.
which is probably, if you look at it, huge view, probably makes more sense, because you would hope then that they would watch their money and make a real effort to onboard and develop and retain those people more so than if they didn't.
I know you have several tiers
Yeah.
of services,
Lots.
the highest being the Sapphire, 2 weeks. Have you ever thought of a follow-up program? So you stay for 2, but then you come back on the 4th week.
Yeah.
Because that onboarding,
know.
really, how many salespeople leave because they just get forgotten about?
Dude, it happens within hours, Chris.
With hours, yeah.
It happens within hours. It happens the minute they're given a 6-inch stack of I-9s and paperwork to fill out, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
And then they're forgotten about,
Yeah.
and again, because it's busy and the manager's under all this heat,
Yeah.
and they've checked out within hours. Okay, look, I'll hang around and get a few paychecks, but my resume is going back up online, man. It's going back up.
I
online. Doesn't have
remember
to be
you
that
talked
way.
about one of the videos you did on retention and on onboarding. What would it really cost when that salesperson comes in? Because you can have business cards done in 12 hours. How many jobs did you or I have
Ridiculous.
where you got the guy that just got fired
Scratched out.
Yeah,
Or
my
blanks.
name's not Mike Jones. Well, you know how to use a bottle of whiteout? You sell 12 cars, you get your own business cards. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Horrible.
Or the guy walks in, he has a desk, and it's been cleaned. It's not like, clean up all the old guy's shit out of your desk and come see me when you're done. And how about going down to parts and getting a Nissan Golf shirt that cost you $14? How special does that guy or girl feel when there's a stack of business cards on a desk that's been cleaned with welcome
Swag.
aboard swag? Sounds small. It ain't.
Huge. That's huge.
Yep.
That is huge to starting them right. Start good and good. I mean, come on. It's, that's important, man. That is really important. We've got to stop this turnover. Got to stop it. It's so expensive.
Sure.
So expensive. We've been running an email blast campaign. I think has it been email or LinkedIn, whatever, where we talk about and we put a figure out there, $1.5 million. Okay. Oh, Craig, that's a lot.
The average dealership in turnover.
Yeah.
I believe it.
But it's like when I first saw that figure, I'm like, that sounds too high. Dealers are But really, when you think about it, that's a fact, man. Yeah. That's a fact. When you have a new hire in there and they sell X amount of cars, and then they leave, what's happening is you're not turning over the 8 cars a month they've sold in the first 3 months they've been there. Yeah. You're turning over the potential 16 or 20 cars a month that they would sell 2, 3, 4 years from now.
Yeah.
So that's where the big money comes in, is that lost opportunity from not hanging on to that person with like everything you got. You just don't let them leave. I've kidded Anthony. Is he listening? Yeah, Anthony's still on. I've told him, I said, look, I got lawyers. You're not allowed to leave. It's like, sue me. It's like you can't leave. So, and I feel like that about literally all our people, our whole team. It's like the only time I want somebody to leave is when they literally, no BS, can really improve their situation, really improve it.
Well, the quality, obviously I spent time with your people down at Seaview.
Yeah.
Met many of them.
That was fun, wasn't it?
I think one of the and you have had such heavy hitters on this program for 38. I got to tell you, one of the best episodes you've had was with Craig Nichols.
Yeah, right? That was real well received.
He is Craig Nichols, and he is representative of the type of people.
Yep.
From Jared Conover all the way down to Izzy Gomez. Age-wise, the caliber of people that AutoMax Recruiting attracts and retains. Wouldn't it be nice if you could get dealerships to retain their people like AutoMax retains its people?
Right. Yeah.
But
it's it blows my mind. Really blows my mind. It's like people say that and they compliment me or us about it, and it's like it's pretty mind blowing. It's pretty mind blowing. It's a good feeling.
Sure.
It's a good feeling, and dealerships should try to chase that feeling a little bit. Mm-hmm. It would be really good for the industry. Really good. If our hire at that moment, sitting across from him or her, regardless of the position or department, and say, I'm hiring. My intent is to see if this person is a good fit for me, the culture, blah 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 blah. Right from jump, and how I'm going to retain this person forever until something better comes available either here or somewhere else. I'm going to develop this person and retain this person to the best of my ability. Instead of this is a hire.
It should have that generational mindset should have ended already. I don't know why it doesn't, but I do remember my first week in the business. We all have this exact same story. Sony Betamax discs. Go in there, read every one of these brochures, and then you get the my way or the highway.
Right.
And if you let them walk, you might as well follow them out the door.
Nobody walks until the man.
And those things still get said today in a lot of dealerships. So
right, of course.
You may be bringing somebody in who just worked for a corporation, whether it's Verizon, that has a culture, a corporate culture. Whether it's a sincere culture or not, it exists, where these people felt valued. And now they're coming into this meat grinder. I had a dealer once refer to, he just flooded the floor with 8 salespeople, and he referred to them as a crop. He said, I think I got a good crop this time. And I thought, how fucking dehumanizing is it?
Crop.
You're talking about 8 human lives with minimal amount of effort on your part and your management's part, 6 of them could be here in 5 years.
Yeah.
And you're talking about them like a crop.
Right.
You don't deserve them.
No, that's true. It's this started a long time. I mean, it used to you had 10% unemployment, 8%, 6%, whatever. It's like and plus a bunch of wacky jobs. You throw an ad in the paper, wasn't that tough to get however many interviews you wanted. So it was just kind of like, I'm just going to throw a bunch on against the wall, whatever sticks, and that and that's hard to get away from. Mm-hmm. But today, we go to some places, the unemployment's less than 1%.
Yeah.
So we're not chasing unemployed people; we're chasing people that want better employment, which is a good thing for the dealer. You have more quality talent. Mm-hmm. And some things we've done lately, it's actually our quantities picked up too, which is really wacky.
But those employable, talented people with a lot of potential,
yeah,
they're not going to put up with being treated like a cattle
they shouldn't.
call. And they shouldn't. Right.
No, they should not.
So if you're going to go out there and spend all this time and resources in trying to attract good people, treat them like good people.
Keep them.
Keep them.
Gotta keep them. I gotta take a piss, man. Can you do this thing for a minute? Who do you know? Oh, you know what?
Give me that.
Do an ad.
I will.
Do Dealer World's ad.
I
Actually, next
certainly
week,
will.
you know what? Hunter Swift is going to be in.
Hunter's coming in?
Yeah, he's coming in
Wow.
next Thursday, man. Yeah.
So he must be going up to...
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
So, and he wrote me a couple of days ago, and he said, "Hey, dude, you told me, when I come visit the home office, Dealer World's home office, be on the podcast." So it's like... So he wrote me. I said, "Dude, let's do it. It's going to be an awesome show. It'll be way better than having you here."
You could have the ghost of Jeffrey Epstein, and it'd be better than having me here.
Did Epstein kill himself?
I think so.
Adam, did Epstein kill himself? Adam? Oh, Jesus.
Adam's
You got
gone.
Dave in here now.
Who's over there?
You got Dave in here now.
Dave.
I'm going to say
Producer
yes,
Dave.
though.
Epstein killed himself by Dave. Jesus, Dave. Why would he kill himself, Dave?
I don't know. I know no facts whatsoever. I'm just saying yes to
That a boy.
appease everybody.
Good. I think that's good. That's a good way to look at things. I'm just going to pick a side and not have had anything. I'm just going to let it rip. So we have Dave says that Epstein did kill himself, and the rest of the world says he did not. What do you think about conspiracies, Dave?
I don't know, man. I just
Are you stoned?
no.
All right. Okay.
Why not?
I was not prepared for these questions at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Go on. Why don't you go get that 72-year-old bladder, coax it to do what
Yeah,
it's
I
supposed to do.
All right. Read the.
I am. Hello, Troy Spring. How are you, my friend? One of the sponsors for this podcast is the phenomenon known as Dealer World. Any of you that know Troy Spring know that he has put his heart and soul into a company that is just rocking the advertising world in the auto industry. And if you want more traffic, but you want less vendors, and who doesn't, when you want to reduce your budget and fees, Dealer World can do it. You get better ads with a focus on leads, and more leads. Chats, phone calls, and walk-ins. Everything Dealer World does is results-oriented. From the best radio and TV to the best lead-generating digital and social. Dealer World does it all, and for sometimes half the fees you are currently paying. Visit mydealerworld.com. That's MYDealer, D-E-A-L-E-R, world.com. It's one of the fastest growing performance agencies in the country for an advertising audit. No obligation to see if they can help you. And there's a darn good chance they can. Also want to give a shout out to our buddy Matt Koenig. Hi, Matt, if you are listening, at the Rockstar Conference. Matt is truly a unique individual in our business. Excuse me, very spiritual guy, very intelligent. Sorry, Matt, I'm giving you a plug, and I'm coughing up a lung here. So if you're frustrated and maybe even a little burned out by the noise surrounding so many auto conferences, man, I know I've been to probably 30 of them, and they all start looking the same. How do you pick the right one?
How do you?
How do you pick the right one to go to this year?
How dare you?
Investing your time, your money, or your resources. Well, it's easier than you think. Dealers and the hottest new companies are gravitating toward Matt Koenig and the Rockstar events. They are one of the few auto industry conferences that's truly delivering new information that helps dealers rock their market. So if you're serious about increasing sales and profit in every department, go to rockstarinfo.com. That's rockstarinfo.com. And see why people like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, Ask a Millionaire, and many more are investing their time in Rockstar events. Visit rockstarinfo.com for information about an upcoming unconference near you. His next one is what, in a couple weeks?
It's in March. I'm looking it up right now. Wait a minute. Hold on. Everybody hold tight here. Rockstar Automotive Conference. And where are we? Vision Conference. It is in the small little burg of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Viva Las Vegas. You're just one moment away. March 15, which is a Sunday, March 15 and 16, 2020 in Las Vegas. It's a very cool venue this time. If you guys would go to rockstarinfo.com, which I think Chris just said, very cool place. All suites. Tickets include the suite. It's going to be awesome. My lovely son, the director of operations of AutoMax Recruiting and Training, Mr. Joe Lockard, will be one of the speakers, along with Mr. Andy Buck.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. One of our AutoMax Recruiting and Training's top recruiter trainers. He also will be speaking, along with, I think, like 18 other speakers. They're awesome events. They're reasonably priced. You'll walk away with usable information. I couldn't recommend it more. And it's not just because they pay us money to say that, although that has a lot to do with it. No.
You do business with Matt Koenig, you made a friend for life.
Yeah, I talked to Matt last night. Was it last night? Or when was it? Yeah, yesterday morning. Whatever. I talked to him yesterday, and conversations with Matt are always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They're always fun. They really are. 19 shares. Thanks, guys. Share this out some more.
Share again.
Would really appreciate that.
When's NADA this year?
I don't know. We're not going.
Yeah.
Hey, James.
James Steele?
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Jody, you made a mistake. Yes, it's the 15th and 16th.
Okay.
And Jody Atkins might be there. You never know. As Anthony would say, the peanut butter and jelly of AutoMax, otherwise known as Tinkerbell, one of my best friends and a
Hardest
AutoMax's
working
controller.
girl in the car business.
Woman works some freaking hard, man.
Real sweetheart.
Really good.
And
really
she's
hard.
one of Petey's biggest fans.
She is.
Yeah.
She
Now
is.
we've come full circle.
Jody, I got a calendar of Petey. You did not. Psych. I'm awesome. You're less awesome because I got a calendar. The youngest man in the car business got a calendar from my old friend, Chris Walsh, which is pretty freaking cool, man.
Now, before we end this,
Yeah,
would you like to hear a quick story about how I named him Petey?
I do. Yes, please.
I was in Alexandria, Virginia, with my good friend Rob Hagan, and we were going to the Lindsay Auto Group. He used to be a Vets Cars dealer, the whole chain. We had a meeting at the Lexus store in Alexandria, and we're driving down the main drag, and I look over, and I see T.C. Williams High School, home of the Titans.
Right.
Now, I would find it hard to believe that anybody watching this has never seen Remember the Titans. Quite easily my favorite sports movie, definitely in the top 5.
Okay.
So I said, let's go to our meeting, and on our way back, I want to see the football field. I just want to stand there. I want to breathe it in. So we go and we have our meeting. We come back, and of course it's astroturfed. It's beautiful. You walk up these steps, and here's this emerald field. And, over to the left is the Gary Berkshire Auditorium, named after the kid that got paralyzed.
All right.
So we're standing there, we're taking pictures, and here comes this golf cart. And this guy's driving the golf cart, and he comes up, and, can I help you? I said, I hate to trespass. Huge Remember the Titans fans. We're here on business. Just, oh, no, that's fine. We get that all the time. How are you? Introduced himself. Where are you from? East Haddam, Connecticut. You're kidding me. He said, I was the coach at Montville High, which is literally 2 towns away from me.
Really?
I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. He spent 10 years as the coach. He replaced Coach Boone in the 90s. Okay, so now he's the head coach at the Titans, T.C. Williams Titans. And
Whoa.
he goes, you got a minute? Yeah, why? He said, there's somebody I think you'd like to meet. So he gets on his walkie-talkie. And if you remember at the end of the movie, they show where each one of the players ended up.
Right.
Like Ronnie Sunshine Bass went to school at South Carolina. He's
Right.
a cameraman for ABC.
Right.
Well, Petey Jones, the running back,
Yeah.
stayed within the Alexandria school system his entire life. So he gets on the walkie-talkie, and here comes another golf cart. And this fat little cherubic-looking guy, you could tell there was muscle under the fat. He looked like a little tailback. Gets out of his golf cart, and he said, I'll introduce you to Petey Jones, the real Petey Jones. And, of course, we get pictures with him. And about 3 weeks later, Diane and I adopted this little dog from the Humane Society, who they had named Samson. And he was 13. He ain't a Samson. He's 13 pounds. He's scared out of his mind. And I named him in honor of Petey Jones and the T.C. Williams Titans.
I did not know this.
That's
what a
the story.
great story, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Petey's awesome.
Petey's pretty cool.
How old's Petey now?
He's
what
7.
would you guess?
He's 7.
7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dixie's, you think 9?
No, probably 11.
Wow.
It'll be 8 years I have her, and I don't know. They guess maybe 3. I don't know. She's wheeling along pretty good, man. And she's been banged up pretty good along the way.
She is the miracle dog.
She is. I just feed her like she literally. It's pretty close, but her food bill a month is about what mine is. Yeah, we spend. It's about the same. She eats really well, really well.
His food's $90 a 40-pound bag, but I do about $10 a week in steak.
Yeah, you feed him a
Well, I have
lot
to.
of people.
He's allergic to so much. So.
Yeah. Oh, is
So
he?
He gets, when the London broil's on sale for $3.99, I stock up and cut it all up for him.
Yeah.
They do get spoiled.
They
are
do.
looking for a specific amount that you put in their food, and if they don't get it, you get that.
Yeah. What up?
What's this?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I'm gonna go rip something up now. That's funny, man.
Man, this has been good. This has really been a lot of fun. It's always good to see you.
Hey, Brian Stroke. Happy birthday, Brian, by the way.
Happy birthday, Brian.
Brian's my nephew in charge of digital marketing for AutoMax now.
Yep.
Doing a nice job. Very smart young man. So I'll go first. So how to get a hold of us? You got the Recruiter podcast that's on, iTunes, all that stuff. It's on all of them. But hey, go when you listen to those. This episode, I think one just got uploaded. We bumped a couple people over because my son Joe and I just did one end of the year podcast here last week. So we moved that up on the audio platform. So that's out now on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and so forth. So you can hear us there. You can go on Twitter. Make it easy on yourself. Just type in my name on Twitter. The actual Twitter name is AutoMax _, but just look up my name on Twitter. Follow me there. You can follow me on Instagram under AutoMax Recruiting. I think there's a picture of me with headphones on in here.
Yes, there is.
AutoMax Recruiting and Training. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on LinkedIn. Yeah, I got 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Could always use a few more if you're in the automobile industry. Also follow AutoMax Recruiting and Training on LinkedIn would be awesome. Have I missed any platforms? Go to if you want to do business with us or talk to us about actually even free information, AutoMaxRecruitingandTraining.com, AutoMaxRecruitingandTraining.com. You can reach out to any of us socially. We're all over the place, especially on Facebook. We're everywhere, myself and the team. And you guys want to talk? You know, you need some advice about recruiting? That's cool. Who did you read? Did you
I
say
read
anything
Matt.
about Automotive HR? Or no?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not say anything about Steve.
All right, I gotta finish him up. But there's two things. So, I want to make it clear for everybody. Chris Walsh is coming back to AutoMax. He's not going to be doing 40 weeks a year on the road, but he is going to be doing recruiting, training, onboarding, and literally, regardless of the position that you're looking for in the dealership, hook up with Chris, and Chris will get it handled for you. He's terrific in store. Bring him in, have him do the interviews, the initial training, the initial onboarding, what have you. We have 2-week campaigns. Chris can do that. He can do anything. And I tell you what, his experience, his heart, his ability to be able to communicate and relate to all people in the dealership, whether it be a principal or a lot person or anybody in between, is unparalleled. The guy really knows what he's doing. He does it from a good place.
Jesus, you're going to make me cry.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's okay. And, hire this guy. Call in at 800-878-5090. Tell Joe, Ernie, whomever that you want Chris out at your store, and we'll try to make that happen for you. He is very expensive, but you get what you pay for. So, but really, no kidding. Welcome back, man. I'm just really.
Don't leave a brother hanging.
Really,
There you go.
really nice to have you back with us. So how do people find you? How do we get a hold of you?
Well, you can start on Facebook.
Okay.
Chris Walsh.
Chris Walsh on Facebook.
You can find me through the Vets Cars website, vetscars.com.
Yep.
C. Walsh at Vets Cars, or C. Walsh at AutoMaxRecruiting.com.
That's right.
You can find me on LinkedIn at Chris Walsh.
Okay.
I am not a big Twitter fan, but I am on Twitter as at Real Chris Walsh.
The real Chris
At real,
Walsh.
Real Donald Trump.
What a narcissist, man.
Well, there are.
The real Chris Walsh.
There's imposters out there.
Please.
You know, there used
Who would want to be you?
There used to be a Minnesota Vikings linebacker by the name of Chris Walsh.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Huh. All right. And then Instagram, Vets Cars at Vets Cars?
Yep. Vets Cars.
Yeah. You should probably do a separate one for you on Instagram, maybe.
Probably. I will.
Yeah. Twitter doesn't do much. I don't know. Business-wise, it doesn't do much, or it doesn't seem. Maybe I haven't figured it out, but everything else seems to. But yeah, get a hold of Chris. Excuse me, and you'll be happy that you did. I want to end with kind of something. I hope this comes out all right. So I've been asking about a month ago or so. We put out a call for original music. I wanted to have some music for the show to lead into the show, and then getting out of the show.
Yep.
We've actually talked to several people, had some submissions, and I lucked into this guy in the United Kingdom. His name is John Magusson, Magnussson. That's Magnussson. John, Jon. So it's John Magusson. You can find him on Twitter, Instagram. He's got his own page on Facebook, and the guy's a super talented musician. We think we've picked, I think, the first song we're going to use as kind of a theme song. It's called "Always a Rebel," that he has written and produced, and he's the talent. And let me see if I can play some of that right now. It's kind of cool. But this is how we're gonna start the show and end the show. I think we should have everything out of the way by next week, next Thursday, when Hunter Swift's on and as a guest. We should have everything done by then. And actually, the inside of this room is going to look a little different. We're going to bring in some banners and some different stuff, so we're changing the look of the room a little bit. But let me see if we can get a little "Always a Rebel" out here. See if we can play this here. And why is that not playing? Okay, quick. Ba-ba-ba. Always a Rebel. Oh, this is just going to be the short one, but that's okay.
That's cool.
I love it.
I like it.
I really think it's good, man. Yeah. So, Always a Rebel. That kind of
makes me want to fire up a bowl if I still did that stuff.
bowl of cereal. Right? So I do need to end. Yeah, so we're going to have music. This podcast is becoming a thing. It's actually becoming a thing. It's unbelievable. It's becoming a thing. So our last friend of the sponsor, but certainly not least. Oh, is that my phone?
Not yours.
Podcast is becoming a thing. Very professional. Our last, certainly not least sponsor is our friend, the CEO, Stephen Warner, the CEO of Automotive HR. Automotive HR is the best. It's a bunch of things. It is a career-branded employment website to have on your website. A lot of dealers have what do they call them? Employment tabs and so forth on their websites. And frankly, if it's not hooked to anything, if it's not third-party to anything, take it down. It's a waste of space.
Yeah.
It's just it really makes no one's coming to your website to apply for a job.
It's hurting your time on site.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, however, in saying that, if you are hooked up with somebody, whether it be Hierology, KPA, what are some of the other competitors, whatever, then it makes sense. Now, what's so awesome about Automotive HR, literally, this is not hyperbole, literally no one else has everything that they can do. First of all is the look. The way that Steven creates and his developers create the look of a career-branded website on your page is awesome. Now, you got to give them the content, but create some video content. You want to check some of these out. I really like, and it's not over the top fancy or crazy. Didn't take a lot of time. Is Adam Nairn's stores, the Patriot stores. He's a client, and his employment pages are through Automotive HR, and they're awesome. And Adam does a little video. And Adam's won Best Dealer of the Year for like 400 years now. So it's like, I mean, he does everything right. But so you start with that. Then you have, and this is really not, might sound odd, but this is really not the main selling point, although it's huge. It's a big part of it. And it's the reason that you have it on your site, but it's 24-hour day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year job posting. So these job postings can be put out in 100 different languages. They're already SEO'd. We have to hire a whatever. You push a button and bang, the job is posted. Literally that easy. So those applicants then come into the system, not unlike a CRM. database. Then you can communicate with that applicant via that system. They go in what's called an ATS, an applicant tracking system, and these are the same kind of program that that AutoMax uses. We obviously use Automotive HR, and then what happens is you can communicate with that person. Now you start building your own talent network. Now here's where things really change. Is Stephen has been working on, I don't know, our relationship's been with him for 2 years, and he's probably been, it used to drive us nuts. It's like, okay, Stephen, you've been talking about this long enough, like, pull the trigger, will you? But he does, he's a perfectionist, as most coders and people like this are when it comes to technology. But he has rolled out an electronic onboarding and HR compliance, or however you want to put it, where paperwork is a thing of the past. With this system, and there's no charge extra, there's no up fees for users or anybody. It's literally unlimited users. It would completely change the dynamic of your admin department and your HR department. It'd make it so much easier for these men and women that work in these departments or run these departments to have a tool like this to use. So it's, man, I really recommend it highly. automotohr.com. If you want more information on that, we can do a little something on a secret. Call 800-878-5090, 800-878-5090. Ask for Joe or Ernie. And if you mention the Recruiter podcast, you get a discount. Now, there's very, very minimal margins in this thing. It's all based on volume, quite frankly. So, but we can save you a couple bucks if you mention the Recruiter podcast. Just give us a call. We'll handle that because we are a reseller and partner with Automotive HR. They are awesome people. Speaking of awesome people, all of those, at one time we had a crap load of people watching all at the same time there. These are going to be pretty big numbers over the next week or so. So this thing, that's the weird thing about this. It's like every day, it's like, this thing will end up having 3,000-4,000 views or whatever. But it takes like a week. They just, people just, it's weird. It has some sort of shelf life. It's very, very strange.
Maybe I'll get a call from Cecil B. DeMille.
I don't think so.
Do a screen test.
Well, he might, because again, that's in your same peer group when you were younger.
I didn't even get to tell a joke.
Tell a joke.
No.
Come on.
No.
Why?
Time to go.
All right.
Nobody wants
Listen,
to hear
I think
crappy sense of humor.
Ricky Gervais was awesome. I think we did the right thing in Iran. So far. Things could change while the 3 hours we've been in here. 3 hours and 57 minutes and 44 seconds. Unreal.
Is this the record?
No. I think Davenport has the record. It was 4.5 hours.
Whoa.
I think he did. I think that's the record. He's starting his own podcast, by the way.
He should.
Oh, it'll be huge.
He should.
It'll be gigantic.
A lot of content, a lot of value in that kid.
The guy's got he's got 200,000 YouTube followers. He's a car salesman with 200,000 YouTube followers.
He is what every young car salesperson should aspire to be.
I guess.
He has run with it. He's done a good job.
I guess.
And his customers absolutely love him.
I would assume so. Yep. The guy's pretty straight.
Yep.
I think you could offer him a lot of money to go tell a customer a lie, and you'd get turned down.
Yep, I agree with you.
So. All right, so start looking for original music next week. Share this thing out. Kick ass in your job, whatever you do in your life with your family, your friends. Life is short. Let's make the most of it. We love you and really appreciate your support of the podcast. And
as I always like to close my sessions,
yes,
don't forget to thank a vet today and every day.
Thank a vet today and every day. Peace. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
God bless you.
Yes. 4 hours
I don't know.
in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
In a blink of an eye. Wow.
Oh, I need a cigarette.
Yeah.